Really thought this part of my life was behind me. Frenzy disappeared with the drinking 3 years ago. Why now? Zoe's back.
No, she isn't.
If people know I see Frenzy, they'd lock me up. I've seen her since the first movie I wrote about her. This makes no sense, and I'm right on the verge of freaking out. John and Pete know, but no one else, not even Katie.
I'm really worried about Billy.
Well, you're no help.
I mean, it's only one day, pal. A day can't last forever.
Pete and John aren't gonna listen to me. I'll end up smarting off and someone will get smacked, guaranteed.
I love this kind.
I'm not leaving till I get a copy.
Yeah, me either.
Okay, but there are no more.
That's your problem.
We're not leaving.
Come on, guys, back off. This isn't gonna solve anything.
You know, I cosplay furries on the weekends.
Next.
This would all be so much easier if I was hammered. Hammered.
Toot toot, William!
Whoa, hey buddy, where do you think you're going?
Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I just wanted to welcome all the fans to TusCon. That's right, kiddies. I hope you have one hell of a time. It's the beast little sci-fi fantasy and horror convention in Scarizona. And I know it's going to be just a scream. Stay safe, kiddies. Wash your bony little fingers. Social distance. And wear a mask. No, not that one. And kiddies, I hope that you be careful what you ask for you may get it.
Correctly with the correct amount.
And now for our feature presentation.
Now, we are recording. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, live. Coming to you live from cyberspace. Sorry.
All over, literally all over the world this time. I want to thank everybody for being able to make it. I'm really happy about what we've been able to do with this year's TusCon. A month and a half ago, we thought we were going to be able to do anything, but you know, just like an old James Cagney movie, we wound up being able to have a barn, and here is our show. I really want to thank our sponsors, BOOKMANS, Nova Home Loans, Community Investment Corporation, Brick Cave Media. A lot of our authors here are from Brick Cave Media. They're great guys just up in Phoenix. Silver Sea, wonderful jewelry. Everybody should know them. Year of the Cat Soaps, Art by Ale, James Pack, Left Hand Asylum, Creatively Queer Press, S.J. Shar, Goth Geek, Traveling Cabinets of Curiosities, Dragon and Wolf Crafts, Hops and Vines, Tucson Games and Gadgets, and Joel Studlier. This year we've got some really great sponsors. We're really happy to have them. They're the reason why you can see me and all of us. This year, the Tales from the Set is international. Since we didn't need to bring people here to Tucson, we scavenged the world, as they say, to bring in people who have been on sets doing movies and theater and different things like that to hear their stories for you. First off, we have April Washko. She is a New York-based film and TV actor, as well as a filmmaker. April is best known as the creator of and the popular streaming sitcom Chair Gang on the Facebook Watch Network. She is also performing with an ensemble cast. She recently launched the comedy series Sketch on IGTV. April has produced and directed various other streaming services and has performed in films across several genres. April, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
Great.
Welcome.
Hello.
Next is Cara Galos Allen. She is a Transylvanian actress and fine art photography model living in Scotland. She's been involved in a lot of theater performances with the German State Theater. And she is the artistic director of the Clonranald Trust for Scotland. She's been having some audio and visual problems, so if she can say hi, great.
I can try. We can try. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
We can hear you. Yay.
You're coming across great. Charlie Chick Allen is Charlie Chick Allen is a Scottish actor, combat performer, fight coordinator. He's the lead performer and choreographer for the globally acclaimed film stage combat choreography team Combat International, and has choreographed for and performed in films such as Gladiator, Thor 2, Transformers 5, King Arthur and the Outlaw King. He is also the chief executive of the Clonronald Trust for Scotland, a historical education foundation which operates in Duncarron, full-scale replica early medieval fortified village. In addition to his other skills, Charlie is the lead of the popular Scottish band, and I am not even going to try that name, Charlie.
Shore Patrol.
Oh, okay. Next is Eric Schumacher. He's a critically acclaimed multi-award-winning film, TV, and multimedia actor, director, producer, actor, producer, director, publicist, gopher, doing all sorts of things. He's groundbreaking, multiple award-winning niche market production studio for Sealy Studios. As a performer, he is one of the handful of actors to have played Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, produced, directed dramatic films, streaming series, TV, radio commercials, music videos, audio dramas, live concerts. He also has a great talent for voices and oh, I had it. Anyway, impressions. That was my word. Impressions. Most recently is the principal performer in the soon-to-be-released fan culture comedy film Revenge of Zoe, which premiered here in TusCon, and the upcoming comedy streaming film Horse Camp by Patrick Ball Media. Say hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Okay, so that might be the only time we can get 2 words out of him and nothing more. So we're moving on to Ginger really quick. Ginger Ferguson is a set caterer, costumer, props master, and producer working in the world of independent production. She has worn more than a hat on one occasion and won lots of awards. Ginger has either catered, been props master, or costumer for multiple award-winning streaming videos. Credits include the multi-award-winning 13-season branded entertainment puppet show, The Bob and Angus Show, sci-fi comedy streaming series Zon, The Alien Interviews, award-winning crime drama El Patron, The Master, sci-fi comedy series My Stolen Time Machine, and award long-form music video They Pretend, which she also co-produced. She's also part of Revenge of Zoe. Ginger also runs Quest.
It's okay.
I got this one. Quest Crafts, a small company that makes handmade soaps, bead spiders, and other beautiful and interesting things. Marco
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Marco is an Italian film, TV, and multimedia producer, writer, director. Over 20 years in the industry, he has been a casting director, first assistant director, special effects assistant, production manager, line producer, screenwriter, director, and executive producer, and eventually founded the UK-based production company Big Enough Productions, which he's currently the CEO. Notable works he has participated in include 5x2, directed by Francis Ozon, Swept Away, directed by Guy Ritchie, Ancient Warriors, directed by Walter von Huyn, and Mosaic, a crime drama theater set in New York City. Currently, Marco is in development of a feature film called The Crane. Marco is the main voting member of the Sardinia Cinema Commission, which selects and finances film projects to be set in Sardinia, Italy. Say hi, Marco.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Michelle Ramos is a self-taught multidisciplinary artist, writer, and multimedia journalist raised in the United Arab Emirates, and being of Filipino, Spanish, and Japanese descent. She uses art to explore the threads that connect seemingly different cultures to spark dialogue on the human condition and the little big things in life. Her symbolic art is symbolized by her cultural heritage, literature, ancient history, mythology, spirituality, dance, music, and her study of various cultures. She has worked as a TV radio host, newspaper reporter, with the areas of art, culture, entertainment, martial arts, and particularly enjoys highlighting inspirational stories of trailblazers, creatives, and entrepreneurs. In 2018, she was the recipient of the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada's Award for the Arts, Community, and Free Expression. Michelle, say hello. Michelle.
Say things.
Hey. Oh, things.
There you go.
Okay, Milo Kapor is a Serbian film, TV, and theater actor. He is best known by international audiences for his role in large productions such as the 007 Skyfall, Luc Besson's Lockout, John Stockwell's Cat Run. He is currently a series regular as Aka, sorry if I mispronounced that, on the Serbian TV romantic comedy. You can go ahead and say that one.
What's the name of that show?
Zigustani u Reketu.
Don't try to say that. It is hard even for us.
Oh, wow.
Milo graduated from Academy of Arts in Novi Sad, ending his studies with the play On Foot. He is the founder of the troupe Double Bottom and was its director until the end of the 2007 season. Currently, he's the director of a prominent regional theater group, Yorick Troupe, and a full member of the Serbian National Theater. As a longtime sports enthusiast, he has achieved respectable results at the middle distance running and basketball competitions.
Very cool.
Milo.
Yep.
Say hi.
Hi, hi to everyone. Cheers.
Welcome.
Hi.
Paul Reeves is a native of Scotland. Paul has a prolific career in video games before training to be an actor and eventually becoming a filmmaker. Paul was a designer for some of the largest video game releases in history, such as Grand Theft Auto, Corvette, Body Harvest, and Bob the Builder, among others. He most recently did the soon-to-be-released Scottish romantic comedy, Lost at Christmas, which features Doctor Who alumni Sylvester McCoy. He was the visual effects producer for the epic fan film Doctor Who Besieged, and produced and directed the short comedy film Game Boys. Paul, say hi.
Hi, I don't.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
Stefan Voigt says he was born on the moon, raised on Mars, stuck on Earth.
Reaching for the stars.
Reaching for the stars. He is a Canadian and Nigerian singer-songwriter, producer, tech Greek philanthropist, and recently actor-filmmaker. When his journey progressed, he saw how music touched hearts. With a large and growing fan base, multiple awards and nominations, his music has topped the charts, major label releases. He's now been cast in TV shows and movies, and he's this new chapter in his life. Stefan, say hi.
Hello. If I look tired, because I spent the last 2 days trying to hunt down a PS5, so that's why I look tired.
And last but certainly not least is Zoe, who traveled the world with her band through 2019, playing Nashville CMA Fest, UK, Ireland, and Sweden. Zoe has shared the stage with lots of bands. She's currently nominated for 12 awards at the Fair Play Country Music Awards in Holland, and her latest single, The Song We Sing, hit number 18 on the Amazon Country Chart. 2020 sees Zoe releasing new music every month and focusing on recording her first album during the COVID-19 quarantine. So everybody, thank you very much for being part.
Hi.
Say hi, Zoe. Well,
Great to be here.
thank you very much for being part of Tales on the Set. That's it. Just joking. Sorry about that. The intros were a little bit long. Since we have an international panel here, I want to know what was the most luxurious or the least luxurious place where you went to on location. And we'll start with Ginger.
Did you say the most luxurious?
Either most or least luxurious.
I think the least luxurious location I've ever been at was an empty, dust and rubble strewn lot out in Picture Rocks, Arizona. I think that's, which is close to home for those of Tucson. But I think that has been the least luxurious I've been to so far. Not the scariest, that's a different category, but that's the least luxurious so far.
Okay, Paul?
I don't know. I've been battered around quite a lot of times. One of the oddest ones was up the top of this hill where I was dressed up as Bruce Forsyth, wearing a Bruce Forsyth mask. Bruce Forsyth is a TV game show host here in the UK who was kind of prolific in the 70s, so I had to wear this skin-tight 1970s suit in the freezing cold and the rain, running up this hill, chasing a meteorite that was meant to be the Forsyth meteorite. It was a pretty barmy TV show. There was about 5 of us all dressed as Bruce Forsyth, running up in the rain. In between takes, folk giving us our coats just to, to get the blood moving again. But yeah, that was pretty rough. I almost gave up any type of acting again after that. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun dressing up as Bruce Forsyth, and our masks kept blowing away because it was so windy. We spent a lot of time running down the hill trying to catch our masks, and stuff like that. But yeah.
Marco, what about you? Any wonderful or really bad locations?
I think the wonderful location at the same time was the worst condition to shoot and to work was in Sarajevo about 2 years ago, because it was winter. And I don't know in Fahrenheit, but the temperature, we were working for 16 hours a day, with -20, almost -18 Celsius, which, well, let me calculate. I don't know in Fahrenheit. Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay.
By Scottish standards, that's bloody cold.
It was, yeah. So it, yeah. So it was minus 0.4, could be.
Very cold. Below
Fahrenheit.
That's warm. Really cold.
-4.
Summer here.
Yeah. So, but yeah, when you work, when you work,
What are you on about?
and you don't have the right equipment to work on the snow, in the snow, and we had like 60 or 50 centimeters of snow, like very high. So that was but beautiful place, absolutely. And so at the same time, the worst and the and the best.
Okay. Kit, what about you and Kara?
Well, I'm going to go to the other end of the spectrum. The best and most luxurious place when it was I got invited over to Istanbul by Russell Crowe for his directional debut on
looks like we're having some connection
Yeah,
issues
it looks
again
like.
there.
So does anyone? Oh, okay. It looks like we're still having the audio problems. You know.
Roll, carry roll, and that, and I had no idea what I was
Boy.
doing when I arrived.
Okay, so does
By Russell, he said he found a couple of days' work, and I'm like,
yeah, it looks like we've lost him. Eric, can you send him a message?
Okay.
Lost him.
Oh, no, we're back. Kind of.
So he flies me this class.
Okay, so does anyone else want to answer the question of either the most or least filmed? No? Okay, so. The next question is that movie people have a bad reputation for being difficult to work with, but I want to know who has been some of the easiest and best to work with people that you've worked with that everybody would know. And who wants to take this question first? Okay, April.
So I always like to tell this story because it's just so amazing. The literal very first thing I ever did in my life as an actor, I'm talking, your girl ain't had nothing on a resume, okay? This was numero uno. And I can honestly say if I didn't have this experience, I don't think I would still be doing this. So the very first thing I ever did in my life, I was still living in Michigan. I was, hustling, and it was kind of around the time that the films were coming to Michigan. So I was like, oh, shoot, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I did. And the very first thing I ever did, I was an extra on Whip It with Drew Barrymore. It was her directorial debut film. And it had like Ellen Page, Eve, everyone in it. And I can honestly say that she is the kindest, most loving, caring human being that I have ever met. She did not have people. I don't know. It was very different. No one was separated. You go on big sets nowadays and everyone's in their own trailers, even before COVID, right? The people that are the leads or whatever, they're sequestered away. They don't really interact with people. They certainly don't sit around and hang out. And Drew, Eve, Juliette Lewis, I believe it was, they were just Jimmy Fallon, they were just sitting around talking to people like human beings. And it was even to the point where when we would break for lunch, Drew personally herself would walk around and be like, sweetheart, did you eat yet? Because make sure you go eat before we start filming again. And are you hungry? If there's something you don't like here, you can go over here. Personally herself to everyone. And God, there's so many amazing, she would play music between all of the takes. As soon as you would hear cut, this DJ, she hired a DJ and would just blast tunes. It's what a fucking genius to just keep everyone's vibes up so people aren't sitting around just oh my God, they're just so kind and so amazing. And I was kind of up her ass the whole time I was there because I wanted to learn things. And she knew that. She caught on to that. And there were times when I would follow her where, I don't know, I didn't know anything at that time, but like I wasn't supposed to go. And she would kind of just step to the side and allow me to be there and witness and overhear. And yeah, she was just so sweet. There was one day I was there, I don't know, was like right behind us and like would like, touch people and be like, okay, guys, if we can move over here, whatever. And she said something really loud and scared the friend I was with, and she jumped and she hugged her and was like, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. So just somebody you would think she's been famous since she was born, basically, and she's went through a lot of stuff, and you wouldn't necessarily peg somebody like that to be as kind and beautiful as she was. So definitely. And Jimmy Fallon too. He was super cool. He stayed way later than he needed to, just talking to everybody and making jokes and bullshitting. And like I know their shoot day got all screwed up because of it, but no one cared. Everyone was cool. It was really amazing.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's great. Anyone else answer?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my first ever major acting experience was about 2-3 years ago. It was on the show The Bold Type. I was on an episode as one of the principal characters. I was interacting with, I can't pronounce her name, Megan Fahey. I'm going to show her a picture. Hold on, let me try and find it there. In case you don't know who she is, that's her. So she's a series regular. And it was my first ever, major production, first time on a giant set. So I was nervous. I was really, really nervous. And I remember kind of just sitting, waiting for my time to go on and, and do my lines with her. And I was nervous. And I just remember talking to her and asking her questions about how she does what she does, how she remembers her lines and all that stuff. And she just was very candid. And, she was very open to kind of giving me tips and tricks and all that stuff. So yeah, that was my first ever big production, and it was really cool to get to work with someone that was so open and candid and didn't make themselves seem like this scary person that you couldn't approach. It was really cool.
Great. Anyone else?
Okay, I can say something.
Go ahead.
Okay, for the first, I realized that there's so many people from Scotland, so I want to congratulate to them because they beat us, Serbia, and they qualified for European Championship in football. So congratulate you guys. And we like you too much. People from Serbia like people from Scotland. Okay, maybe I have connection between first and second your question. And I'm honored that I share scene with such notable artists like Javier Bardem, Daniel Craig, Guy Pearce, Sir Ben Kingsley, and it is a well-known thing that as some actor or artist is better acting, it is easier to work with him, because he knows his value. So talking and working with Judi Dench, with Javier Bardem, it's no problem. When I shooted movie with Ben Kingsley, it was we shoot it in Serbia, and staff was mostly from Serbia, and they say, "Hey, come on, do not don't approach to Ben Kingsley, and if you want to talk with him, you have to say Sir Ben Kingsley." And for me, even I was like a Miller Kapper from Serbia, he's Sir Ben Kingsley. I say, hey, we are in the same business, same job, we have same role. Okay, and I start to be closer with him. And of course that he's very normal guy, and just our people from staff, they wanna scare us. But when we shoot in Skyfall in Pinewood Studio in London, and before you got some big book how to behave on the stage, on the scene, what to do if you some problem with the eyes, ophthalmologist is here, if you problem with your knees, orthopedia is over there, you can eat this or you can eat that, something like that. And of course, and first time, I don't know, Daniel Craig had to shoot with the gun, and all the time some waiters walking through between the actors and give us something to eat. I don't know, or they're scared that we are hungry, or to shut up our mouth. I don't know. But once one guy approached to me with a whole bag with earplugs, and I took one and put in my mouth and start to eat. And no, Misha, it's not for eating. Yeah, how it's not for eating? What's that? No, it's earplug. Why do I need that? Because now Daniel Craig will shoot. Okay, shoot. Yeah, with the gun. One bullet, yes. Come on, people, I'm from Serbia. Fucking Serbia. For us, it's common to drink coffee while NATO bombing us. We have no problem, you know. You have sex during the bombing, during the war, and now we're started first to laughing, and everybody, Daniel Craig, Roger Deakins, Sam Mendes, everybody, and you can take or you cannot. It depends on your wish. But when somebody doesn't need airplug, he said Serbia. That means I don't need airplug because I have strong ears. So that's it for the beginning.
That's awesome.
That's a cool story.
That's a great story.
Wonderful.
Sorry of my English, man.
Okay, so was there a time when you were able to get so into your role or the acting that you almost forgot that you were on set? Kara?
I see a lot of giggling over there in Scotland, and I really want to know what that's about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but I forgot I was on set. Yeah. You know, I have these
Guys, the audio is breaking up again, I'm afraid.
Sorry about that. Anyone else want to answer that one?
Typecast, yeah, with I was sitting there with a set in my hand, and we were on the Jew. Can you hear me again?
Okay.
I mean, I'll go. Can you hear me?
Bummer.
So go ahead, Steven.
Okay. I mean, there's a time I forgot that I was, you know. Am I good?
Yeah.
It was less about me forgetting that I was on set and more about me focused on not dying, because I was put in a situation where my character was in a high-speed chase, and we were on this very, very narrow road where if you even deviated to the side, you would crash, and it's one of those things where we're driving so fast, and I was terrified, like absolutely terrified, that if I made a single mistake, that I would end my life and end the lives of all the people behind us, because there were cameras following, there were cars following us at the same time, and it was just unbelievably terrifying. I remember before we started the scene, I had never driven a truck in my life, so they gave me like a 2-minute tutorial, like, and this is how this car works. You got this, right? And on the sides of the truck, they had the cameras mounted. So then they said, like, if you even just stir too far to the right or to the left, you're gonna damage the cameras and it costs us thousands of dollars of production. But you got this, right? And also, by the way, there's gonna be cars. Yeah, no pressure. There's gonna be cars chasing you from the back, so you can't brake without warning. But you got this, right? And also in the front, there's gonna be a train passing that we have no control over. So be aware of the train. But you got this, right? And at the same time, again, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any of that stuff. But my character smoked, and they forgot to bring, I guess, the fake cigarette. So they made me smoke a real one. So I'm smoking a real cigarette. Never done that before. Driving this car really fast, hoping not to die. So in that moment, being an actor went out the window. It became more about self-preservation. So yeah, that was fun. It was terrifying, but it was absolutely fun.
Wow.
Okay, letting 3 more people in. Excuse all the pinging. Here we go. Okay, I think we're.
All right.
So
I'd like to sort of address that, if I may.
Oh, go ahead, Eric.
So I actually pride myself on not forgetting where I am. I go through quite a process to maintain some level of me, because I also go through quite a process to get to not me. You know, I do a lot of work to just try to become a character. And so what I find is, and I'm sure many of our other performers here can relate to this very well. You know, with certain characters that are harder for me to nail, I have to stay in character for a long time. And so, in particular, there were 2 sets that I was on. One where I played, where I was Doc Holliday, which was Alex Cox's Tombstone Rashomon. And in that film, I found it very difficult to find Doc. And once I found him, I didn't want to get out of character. So I would get to set way before everyone else, get way deep into character. And if you talked to me at any point during filming, you were talking to Doc. So I remember in particular that I made a point of speaking to everybody on set, and I was always Doc. And at the end of filming, a good friend of mine who was one of the grips on set, we did an after party, and I remember he paid me a very high compliment because I finally got out of character, and he said, "Wow, it's nice to finally meet you." Similarly, I was in a short series, a crime drama series called El Patron, the Master, and I played kind of a badass, pretty scary DEA agent. I remember close friends of mine on the set, because I really needed to stay in the character, his name was Jans, telling me that they were afraid to be anywhere near me, because whenever they spoke to me, they were speaking to Jans, who, you know, was looking at them like he was ready to kill them.
He was a son of a.
Letting 1 more person in. Oh, wow. Lots of pinging. Sorry, please go on.
So who else had a dangerous situation?
Too many situations, very dangerous.
Okay, Marco, give us one.
I don't know, me as an extra, you know, it's very similar to Stephen, driving the truck he never drove before, because I actually was riding a horse as an extra, and I never did it before when I did it at the time, you know. So, and I couldn't stop because there was this little dog barking, you know, after the horse, so that the horse started, you know, just riding and very quick, very fast, you know. And I did all that I could to stop him, you know. And then the director say, "Wow, that was good." Then I say, "Yeah, I was all sweating." Yeah, I was so close to die in that moment. But, nice story to tell.
Yeah, but I think over here on this panel is so many guys who played also in the theater, and I think that is theater more relaxed. And in theater happens so many funny things where we can lose ourselves than in movie. Movie industry is very expensive, so there is no surprises, you know. We are very focused. But in theaters where we played one play more than 50, 100 times, we actors, we need to relax ourselves. So we make some fun to our colleagues, to make some jokes, and we try sometimes, but here in Serbia, I don't know how is it in the UK, US, or Scotland, or wherever you are. how is it? But we are a little bit relaxed, and we want to make it because audience like that. When actor in theater is a little bit confused or lose himself, and they're always clapping for us. So I can tell to you jokes from theater days and days. So when you want, welcome.
Milorad, I just want to say that I'm actually absolutely no fun at all.
I can confirm that.
Yes, thank you, Marco. I appreciate that. You always got my back there.
Okay,
Guys, can I just jump in? Can you hear me okay?
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, we can hear you.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, cool. We just changed to my phone, so it must be a problem with the laptop. So we are now on my mobile phone.
So good to hear you.
Still hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. So we were talking about dangerous times on set, and I bet you've got a bunch.
Yeah. I can't fathom that you might have dangerous times on a set, Charlie.
Can I start actually? Can I start?
Please.
So we were have you seen Outlaw King, which was like the last Scottish epic that they filmed in Scotland with Chris Pine and a few other good actors. Anyway, so I was not involved in front of the camera. I was doing makeup. And I was running around with Combat International trying to spray blood on everybody and, tidy them up and behind the scenes. So it was the middle of November, very, 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 very cold, freezing. And they waited until then to shoot this huge battle scene with horses and muds, and it was just dreadfully cold. So they dug huge trenches for the charge, so the horses would charge, and here were the soldiers with the pikes, and there was a big trench in between them. And in order for the horses not to fall into them or slide into the mud, they put concrete on one side of the trench, but covered it with mud.
To support it.
Now, some people got the memo with the concrete, some people did not.
Oh, no.
So I was standing there minding my own business, and all I see is Harry. This is a shout out to you. Harry is a small man. He's tiny, and he had this humongous helmet on. Like
He's a drummer in the band.
Like he's a drummer in the band as well. Like a huge helmet, and he went full method acting. He felt it that he launched himself, and he jumped. All his something jumped. Okay, and he was expecting to land first in the mud. Now there was concrete behind that mud, and you could hear the impact of the helmet. It was the funniest, but also most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life. You could see him compressed like a tiny accordion. It was
no. He was even smaller, and we called him the human.
He now takes a new role in the band as the small human accordion.
You can imagine the sympathy he got when he returned from hospital.
It was so funny. Poor guy had a concussion. Anyway, you go.
Yeah.
You have a few good ones.
Dangerous. Okay. So we're gonna splurge now that we've been silenced for so long. Everybody knows Michael Bain, yeah?
Sure.
Yep.
Bain Transformers, yeah. Transformers 5. He's so he loves an explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been involved in a few scenes on various movies where there's been a lot of fire involved, and we've had to, a lot of horses getting charged down. Apart from, I've got a ton, but the one I'm going to choose for now is Michael Bain, Transformers 5. We were running alongside this whole sort of cordoned off area where there was a huge big fireball rolling in on a wire, and we were to imagine there was a dragon behind us coming down. And I don't know if you've seen the movie, but in the Arthurian sequence at the start of the movie, this huge big dragon comes in and flaps his wings and flattens everybody. So we're all running along like warriors into battle, and this big dragon comes along and basically squashes us all. But at that point when he comes in, there's a whole load of explosions go off, and we were all bearded men, as we are in Combat International, most of us. So we all had to have this gel all poured on us and rubbed on us so we wouldn't ignite from the flame. Because some of the explosions that went off, at the time I was a little bit heavier. I've kind of gone keto and I've kind of slimmed down a little bit, but I was a heavy guy. And I got blown 6 feet right to the right as I was running forward. I got blown right clean off my feet by these explosions that were going off. And, you know, basically all we were told was, don't get hurt. Yeah. So, you know, that was probably, I've been in a lot of scary situations. I've been charged down by, I've been standing in front of 150 horses running at me with nowhere to go. But getting blown off your feet sideways from, you know, a pure explosion, I think was probably one of the most scary but exhilarating moments in my movie career. Yeah, I've got a full buzz off that. So yeah, talking about danger, and also Harry, who inflicted it upon himself. That's just a couple of things.
Fantastic.
Guys, glad you can hear us now. That was so frustrating.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. Wonderful to hear you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else have a dangerous story they want to share?
You know, all of the stories that I have that are dangerous are kind of nothing compared to that. So I'm just going to.
Yeah, I gotta stop there. That beats interns passing out.
I don't think
I don't even think skydiving comes in the category of that.
So why don't we go to it? Why don't we go to a different topic? Since we've got an international panel here, why don't we discuss the differences in the sets depending upon where you are, whether you're in Scotland or Serbia or in the US or wherever you might be? Does anyone have any good stories about cultural differences on set depending upon where you are? Paul, do you have something?
The first film that I ever properly acted in actually got filmed right up and down the whole of the UK. Some in Glasgow, some in Nottingham, and some in Bristol, I think it was. Yeah, Bristol. And it was meant to be a martial arts movie, but it turned into more of a kind of slasher horror, really horrible gore movie. It really wasn't very good, but I had a lot of fun. But all the really a lot of the fight stuff went on up in Glasgow, and this was when I met some of the combat guys that worked on the Batman movies, the Christopher Nolan ones, and they were really friendly, really funny guys, and I ended up training them for quite some time afterwards. But I can only really relate to what it's like in Scotland and going down in England, mostly working with the same bunch of people, but got different reactions from locals. Like I choose when I go out, I prefer to wear a kilt as opposed to a suit. And we went out in obviously in places in Scotland and places in England, and some places in various places in England absolutely don't like Scots folk. You know, and it's just like it just drew a lot of, you know, ugly attention at places. But in other places, the further south, very friendly. You know, you get the usual people going, you know, kind of have a look under there. Actually, no, you can't. but just being friendly and nice about it. But there's definitely some pockets where definitely got treated very differently. But overall, pretty friendly, you know.
Great. Okay, Milo, you said you had a story?
Capo.
Yeah,
You.
yeah.
Milo.
Sorry, okay, you say like my nickname.
Oh.
Yeah, it's I I realized so many differences, but let me say that I'm from Serbia and I'm from Balkan and I'm from southeast of Europe. You are mostly from Western countries, and the first step, everybody say people from West are more professional, more serious. We are like a little bit from the South, Mediterranean. We are crazy, etc., etc. And for some reason, yes, that's true. Because while I'm shooting those serious movies, I realized that everybody are very, very focused on their own business without connection, without some humanity in them. I came to do my job, and that's it. Sometimes on beginning of my some shootings, I invited some of my colleagues. Let us go after shooting to some club for 1 or 2 beers, not more. No, Misha, we have one more day tomorrow for shooting. I said, come on, you have no lines. You have no lines. They choose you because you look like a gangster or something like that. If you will be drunk tomorrow, you will be greater for the scene. No. So I have to give my best to try it. And after a couple of days, one was with me on in the bar. Next day, 2 guys, 2 my colleagues, etc. So when my professor of acting, he was a brilliant actor in ex-Yugoslav actor. He said that art came from relaxing, not from scare or from relax. If you are relaxed on set, on the stage, you can do big things. So, and I brought that when I shoot it in Western countries, and guys accepted that. Not okay. I found balance. I found balance, not to be not amateur. So that's it. Here is more relaxed. He's more relaxed, but results are also good. We have also winner of Golden Palm, of Berlin Golden Bear, of Venice Golden Lion. So we have also serious cinematography. If you're satisfied by my answer.
Yeah,
that's good.
Great. Okay, so they say that Napoleon said that an army marches on its stomach, and it's also been said about movie sets.
Yes.
correct.
Ginger, why don't you start off and tell us something about catering on a movie set?
Okay. First step, it's not like catering a wedding or any other party. It's a whole different animal on its own, because you've got to take into effect how many people, where are you going to be located, the shooting schedule, the fact that people are going to be wearing costumes, so you're not going to serve spaghetti sauce, a whole bunch of things. It's more complex, I think, than it used to be, because more people are coming up with like food allergies. And, that's the first thing I always do when I meet with the director or producer. It's like, okay, get me a list of your food allergies, because you want your actors to be happy, right? You want them to have food that will keep them energized and will keep them on the set, so you don't have to chase them down for the next 2 hours as they've gone down to the Quickie Mart to get something. It's the idea is you want to try and keep them so they're feeling appreciated and contained. And being that I have worked on a lot of very small budgeted productions, I guess the term is micro budgets. Is that correct, Eric? Is that the correct term?
I think that's the correct term.
You try and do as much as you can with as little as you can. It's always challenging. I had one actress who is allergic to anything made out of beans, nuts, dairy, wheat, I think was part of that, and tomatoes and onions were all the things that she couldn't eat. And she was one of the lead actresses, so it's, you know, gotta feed her. So
Have
that
an apple.
it's like you got to sit back and figure, and then God love them, you'll have the cast that go, we don't care, we'll eat anything, you know. So it's always challenging. It's always unique. It always makes me have to learn and grow a little bit more, because just the logistics of, okay, we're going to be you know, first call is 5 a.m. and we want them to have, you know, a breakfast of some sort. So that means I'm out there at 4:30 setting up coffee and things. And then it's like, then everyone goes, they start shooting. You have to have craft services. So that means you've got to have something that the actors can come over and keep their energy up. And then lunch won't be until, you know, the 7th scene is set, and could be in 3 hours, could be in 8 hours. So it's like, you know, how do you have food that doesn't become dangerous, but still looks good? So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of challenge. Sets run on coffee, and especially here in Tucson, lots and lots and lots and lots of water, which also then makes another interesting logistics of restrooms. So I'm, you know, it's always challenging. It's always fun. And because I usually am involved with micro budget productions, one of the way the actor ends up feeling appreciated is if you give them more than like pizza and a soda, a lukewarm soda. So that's why I personally aim for like meals that are, you know, complete with dessert and salad and main course. And yes, and this is all, you can eat these things without needing your EpiPen. So it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of challenge. It's a whole different logistics than like regular catering.
And I've had your food, Ginger. It is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any either really good or really bad food stories they want to tell, Charlie?
I've
Charlie,
got
just like, please.
Sorry, I've got another one. It's the other end of the spectrum. Other end of the spectrum. Ireland 2002, filming King Arthur, the one with Keira Knightley, Clive Owen, the whole cast, Mads Mikkelsen, Stellan Skarsgård. We had 60 of my team in Ireland, and when we first arrived in Ireland, they put us in this really shoddy accommodation, which was like a hostel in Ireland, just outside Blessington. 50 guys in a bunkhouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's
and
fun.
she's not talking about the socks. So, 5 a.m. every morning, my dear, your catering is probably exquisite, but this was the opposite. A little white van pulls up with these, you know, those hot bins where they put everything inside to keep it warm. And in these bins were stacks upon stacks of tinfoil wraps with baguettes. And in that baguette, there was what looked like an egg, a sausage, and a piece of bacon. And every man had one.
Uh-oh.
So we're all sitting, this is 5 a.m. in the morning, the light's barely coming up. We're all sitting in a circle outside. We're all sitting in a circle, right? 50 guys, right? We're all sitting like eating this pretty soggy baguette. It had no like, it was held together by humidity. And we're all, you know it, she's laughing because she knows. Right now, So we're all biting into these baguettes. We're all sitting in a circle. We've all known each other for a lot of years. Like this is a team that's travelled through a lot of years filming. We've 25 years together now. So this was about like 2003. So we are all sitting in a circle, and this little dog walks in amongst us. It belonged to the local hostel owner. She had 2 dogs.
Beta car.
Kara's lost it.
The first dog walks in, puts down a little cake on the floor in front of us. That was bad enough. Everybody's kind of like, you know, trying to eat their breakfast while this dog's laying down. The other dog came in and ate it. So the whole team, one guy, 2, 3 guys, they're all like, bleh, bleh. And it caused a chain reaction.
Oh, no.
Yeah, at least 20 guys. 20 guys out of 50 all going, bleh, bleh. Retching their breakfast at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, see, that's what I work to avoid.
Sorry. Who clean all the mess after?
There's one guy in particular that kicked off the whole retching thing because he had a weak stomach. His name's Tony. So he was feeling pretty fatigued. So, you know, he was lying sleeping later on in the day when we actually got like 11 o'clock brunch. We'd already been filming. Everybody was relaxing. It was baking sun. Really, really warm. Unusual for Ireland as well as Scotland. The sun shining. So all the guys, while he was sleeping, the main guy that started off this whole chain reaction, they all got muffins. So they ate all the muffins, put them in the mouth, and then swallowed milk. And then somebody went up and shook him and went, Tony, we're on set. Tony jumps up, and the whole shield wall went, threw out all the muffin in the milk. And of course, this started Tony off again. So Tony was like,
oh my God.
Yeah, Kate going. The other side of that is that catering fell out with us for a short while.
I imagine why.
We wasted all the muffins. And it was funny. Either.
I got a story about the value of coffee on a set, if I may. This was one of the westerns that I shot. I won't say which one, but it was a TV show, and I played Wyatt Earp. So so you know, as all of my film colleagues here will know, shooting days can go very, very long. And so we were doing a long day. We were shooting the gunfight at the OK Corral. And we were in between my shots, but I had to stay really nearby. It was on location at Mescal, which is one of the most famous Western sets in the world. And so they're shooting in this little alleyway in between the buildings. And across from us, behind us, is where craft services was. And it was in one of the buildings that was used as an exterior set. And there were windows inside that building. So I'm standing there on the side with the guy who played Virgil Earp, and I realized that I'm starting to fade, and I'm going to need to go on pretty soon and be in the middle of the gunfight. And I'm just like, I'm getting really tired, really sleepy, and I need coffee, and I need it now. And but the problem is that the camera is placed so that it's facing across the street towards craft services, where the building is, where all the windows are. So basically I need to get over to craft services before they call me over to shoot, but I can't get in frame. So what we worked out this little system where my friend is watching filming, and he lets me know as soon as they call cut, he gives me a signal, and I ducked down, ran across screen underneath the camera behind the crew, and then made it to the building. And then I'm standing at the door and they start filming again. So I'm hiding out of frame, and he gives me another signal and I run inside, and then I did a duck walk. I scrunched down really low, and you know, I couldn't get my costume messed up, and the floors were really dusty there because, you know, you're in the middle of the real Old West there, and so I'm just almost walking like hands and feet, you know, down underneath the window, and I go up to the guy who's running craft services, and I'm underneath the booth that he has, and I said, "I need coffee. I need coffee." And so he waits until they're not pointing, you know, until they've yelled cut, and he hands me a coffee down, and I drink the coffee, and then I do the same thing in reverse to get back there, and I make it back to the side where my friend is waiting, and they say, "All right, we need Wyatt over here," and that was. So coffee's very valuable.
Coffee.
Yes.
Coffee is. Does anyone else have a food story they want to share?
Food, no, but a drink.
Drink?
No, but just not a drink, like not alcohol, but but I can tell this. It's a funny story anyway. I think it was in 2008 while we were shooting my movie Mosaic, and so we were shooting a police interrogation scene, and one of the actors had a kind of hard time showing tension while playing the role of an alleged criminal. So we shot the scene like at least 10 or 12 times without getting, you know, what I wanted from him. And at one point, you know, he asked to take a break and to go to the restroom. And so I asked him, is it pee or other thing? And he said, no, just pee. And I will be right back. No, so I stopped him and I asked him not to go. And I asked the assistant to bring a bottle of water, and I made him drink, you know, at least half of the bottle. So I asked him to wait while, to wait a little bit because I went to shoot the scene, you know. And when he started, you know, begging me to let him go and to the bathroom, then I had everyone put back in their own position, you know, for start shooting. And when he started shaking, you know, I asked him to play, you know. So okay, let's do it. So and you know, let's make this scene, and then you go. And so, you know, he told me he was going to, you know, to make it right there. I mean, to piss himself. So and I told him no. I say no. You know, I have faith in you and in your bladder. and then at the end, you know, we shot, I think, the scene, and we shot the scene, and you know, that take was absolutely great. You know, and very realistic. All his leg was shaking, you know, all the time, and he couldn't, you know. It's like, you know, under interrogatory was cool. So
excuse me, but I have to say that I think the quote of the day now is, "I have faith in you and in your bladder." I'm gonna quote you on that, Marco.
All right, but you know, when you're on set and you have to try to direct the actors, you want to get the best also for your scene, you know, from the actors. You want to take the best from them. So you have to be creative also on set and try to be. So that's what you know, but it was like suddenly happened like this, you know. When he asked me to go to the restroom, I say, oh, wait a minute, you know, let's take it.
Let's use a real torture technique on it.
It doesn't matter, but it worked. It worked out.
Just a suggestion, Marco, you know, in future promotions for the film, I think you should have some merch that says, "I have faith in you and in your bladder."
Yeah, like
if you don't do that, I'm going to. So
yeah, be careful what you say, because you're going to be in the next movie.
On the opposite spectrum, actually, with filming music videos, because I'm an artist first. I was just recently, during all this lockdown and COVID, I just recently shot 4 new music videos in lockdown. And it was, we had 2 days to shoot 4 videos before the weather came. And as it was freezing, and we were shooting between rain and like 30 mile an hour winds, I should say. And it was just like really horrendous and awful. But my mom actually worked on Outlaw King. She's my manager, and she also worked on Outlaw King doing catering for like, I don't know, 700 people or something ridiculous. And so I decided, I thought it'd be a really smart idea, like, hey, Mom, how would you feel about doing catering on the videos for us, you know, like, because we're going to try and be socially distanced, but we're going to have a small crew and kind of like, you know, we're going to all need to be fed, and we're going to be shooting pretty, you know, full on, because we've only got 2 days to shoot 4 videos, and me being me, I didn't make them simple. I made them very concept stories and just went way over the top. Anyway, so I said to Mum, I'm like, well, how do you feel about doing the catering? She's like, I'm down for it. I'm you know, I've already done so much stuff. She's a great cook. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we get into shooting. She's done like 2 weeks of preparing for this to work out how much everyone's going to need, water, snacks, food, everything. And she just laid it out. Like, the amount of people that we had, I reckon she could have fed them all 20 times over. And I just remember just carrying food from set to set to set, because she just had like tiers of food. So if you need somebody to like feed a lot, Mum's the one for it. But I swear I'll never forget just carrying bags of food, like guitars and drums and gear and just bags of food. So it was brilliant, but nobody went hungry.
That's
so,
good. Sounds like my kind of catering. Yep.
She's probably right up your alley, actually. Yeah, she's doing a really good job.
Is your mom Italian by chance? No.
No, Australian. Ironically, but maybe,
Because
I don't know.
all Italian mothers are like that, you know. Just they do.
Yeah, even Serbian.
I think she just got so used to feeding, like, because she did a lot of stuff
Large.
with Outlaw King, and my brother did too. And it was just feeding so many people. I think I don't know, somehow subconsciously just thought this is going to work, and just brought that to like our set of 20, 30 people for the music videos, which was crazy. So yeah, nobody went hungry. It was a lot of fun, and yeah.
Yeah, you always make more because you don't want anybody to be hungry. You always
what she said.
You always make more because leftovers are better, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yes. So Wanda, she was the one that had all the guys sorted. She made sure everybody had snacks, and nobody went hungry under Wanda's watch.
Nice.
Thanks. I'll pass that on.
Yeah.
So another thing that being on set and being in the entertainment industry in general allows you to do is meet really interesting people. Michelle, do you have a story about some interesting person that you've met in your travels?
Oh, wow. There are just so many of them, and they're all like, there are a lot of really inspiring people I've interviewed. One guy who really sticks out in my mind is a Broadway producer who actually came from the slums of the Philippines. And yeah, so, his name is Jet Tolentino, and he grew up in the slums of the Philippines and worked several jobs to make his way to the top. And then he moved to, he actually couldn't fund his education. So what he did was he managed to get a scholarship in high school. But once he graduated from high school, he couldn't afford to go to college. So if there's one thing I learned from him, it's this thing he said that stuck out in my mind, where he said, you never really know the answer unless you ask. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. So he really needed help to go to college. So he asked the guys who helped fund his high school scholarship for help, if they would at least make an exception and maybe give him a scholarship to go to college. And they said yes. And he studied accounting, moved to the States, he was juggling 5 to 6 jobs, worked as a nanny, and did a whole bunch of other stuff. And he became a critic. He became a theater critic, and he started writing a blog where he wrote reviews of Broadway plays, because that was his escape from all his workload. And when people started getting some bad reviews, he got a lot of heat for it, and they said, hey, why don't you put your money where your mouth is? And he did, and he ended up making some award-winning plays. And yeah, so that was one guy who really stuck out, but not because of his achievements, but because of who he was as a person. Once he achieved that level of success, he actually went back to the people who gave him that scholarship, and he's given back by paying it forward. So that's if I
Very
had
cool.
to choose, if I had to choose someone who really stood out as a person and as a leader in their field, it would be that dude.
That's amazing. Does anyone else have other people they'd like to talk about? Interesting people they've met in their careers?
I think one of the most interesting individuals I've met was a musician that we made a music video for, a gentleman called K-Boss, who started off in, God, Eric, I've forgotten. South Africa?
No,
Ivory Coast.
Ivory
Coast.
Cote d'Ivoire, yeah.
Cote d'Ivoire. From the Ivory Coast, he was a long distance runner. He was going to be on their Olympic team, and they got kicked off the plane because some bureaucrat wanted their seats, so he couldn't go to the Olympics. So he ended up coming to America, worked in New York, taught himself English, became a nurse, through a series of adventures, ended up in Tucson. But he was also like special forces. He was on the Ivory Coast equivalent of like SEAL Team 6 and was a special force man. And now he's a nurse, but he's still got this passion for the music. And he's always been this extremely genuine, sharing, outgoing artist and performer. And I think he's one of the most fantastic, most interesting men I've ever encountered. Was the first person I ever met who literally took my breath away. When I was introduced, it was like, I couldn't even come up with words to talk to him. He was so this aura about him was just, over in a good way, but just so regal and compassionate and capable. And so I think that's been one of the most interesting individuals that I've ever met is K-Boss.
I'm blessed to say that many of the most interesting people I've ever met are on screen right now. I mean, look at you guys!
Sorry,
Holy
Marcel.
crap! Interesting, amazing. This is really I'm so glad that all of you could join in today. It's just such a breadth of experience and knowledge, and I have huge respect for every single one of you, and just want to say thank you all for joining.
Likewise, mate.
Cheers, man.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
I have a few stories, but there's one. It's not even related to me working at the moment, but I just find it hilarious. And it's the time I'm gonna say the time I met Kevin Hart, but I don't think he knew he met me. It was 2 years ago at the Just for Laughs festival. He came to Montreal and he performed, but I didn't go to his show. I went to some other show where comics. The whole spiel of the show is comics roast people in the crowd. And my friend invited me and she said, this would be funny. Let's go. They're probably going to roast you because of your hair. And I said, oh, okay, fine. So I went and so people were roasting people in the crowd. And then at some point it was like, oh, we have a special guest. And then Kevin Hart walked in. He had just finished his thing at his venue. And he just came and he as a special last second, invitee, he just came in and he came on stage. And I remember going like, oh my God, Kevin Hart is on stage right now. And I was right in the front row. And then Kevin Hart made his rounds kind of roasting people. I feel like the second he got to me, his eyes lit up because he's just like, oh my God, there's so much stuff I can use right now for comedy. Like he stayed on me so long. He just nitpicked me to death. Then he moved on and he came back and he stopped at me again. He nitpicked me to death. So yeah, at some point they filmed it and they made us sign a release form. So I know it's gonna come out at some point and it's gonna be hilarious. But then 2 years later, he did a movie in Montreal, and I was called into audition to play his best friend in the movie. Can you guys see me? I just lost the thing. There you go. I was called to play his best friend in the movie. I really wanted to get the role like so bad just so I could be like, hey, remember that one time you roasted me?
I'm back.
Unfortunately, I didn't get the role, but I just thought that was hilarious. Again, it's not part of me, working at the moment, but I just thought it's a funny story.
Nice.
So
What if we all spam him and tell him to go get Stephen?
Yeah, right. It's like, hey, why?
That's part of networking, which is, of course, really, really important. So that way, eventually, you can do work.
Getting roasted is part one. Get roasted.
I would like I've been blessed to meet a lot of fascinating people, and as I said, a lot of them are right here. But I will one event that I think is particularly relevant to TusCon as a sci-fi convention. I co-produced with several people a wonderful event to honor Bob Shelton, who was the founder of Old TusCon's Studios, where I've done some work along with the Loft Cinema in Tucson, and among those was wonderful producer actor Michael Candela, Alan Williams, several others great people who helped produce this event, and Ginger actually was involved in that as well. And we brought Stacy Keach and Bruce Dern out, and particularly relevant for TusCon was when I had some opportunity finally to talk with Bruce Dern a bit, who was in still one of my very favorite films ever, Silent Running, a brilliant sci-fi film that is has great social implications, and got to chat with him privately about the making of Silent Running, as he was telling me how they ran out of budget for this huge film at one point, and the director reconfigured his garage as part of the space station, and they shot many of the scenes in the garage. And then we both kind of said, "That's like my favorite film," and he says, "Yeah, it's my favorite film too." So that was fun. Also, I should add one of my mentors, and I think my mom and my dad are actually on this call somewhere.
Yeah.
Who was so one of my my dad's best friend was a man named Paul Mantee, who also mentored me a bit, as did my parents. And Paul Mantee was almost best known for Robinson Crusoe on Mars, which he was a lead in. Which was I guess late 50s science fiction movie about a guy an astronaut who crash lands on Mars. And a bit part was played by, not a bit part, but a small speaking role was played by Adam West of Batman. So very interesting guy.
Yeah. Oh.
Just keeping it to the sci-fi end of things.
It does look like Eric.
Yes, sir.
Your dad was an actor as well, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. Both of my parents were. They met on stage. And,
do you want to unmute Paul and see if he wants to say anything?
Let me find out if he's prepared to do that. I'll disappear for a second. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, because I personally would love to hear from him. So while Eric's clearing that, making sure that's okay. What other interesting people have you guys met either networking or on set?
Let me say one thing. Excuse me.
Okay.
I don't know. When you're like a VIP person, especially in small countries like Serbia is, and everybody wants to take photos with you, or when you are in some clubs or some celebrations. And you have to take care about your dignity, about your. You have to be focused on yourself, because sometimes, someday in the future, someone can take your photo with someone who asks you in some party, who is like a celebrate man, like he is like a politician or whatever. And you realize after that he is just a robber, and
That's very true.
He's like a famous, he's a famous. Why I shouldn't take a photo with president of that country or this counselor or ambassador? I don't know how it's say. And in the future, he has some financial, transaction, and because of that, when you're a VIP person, when you're a person who everybody likes you because you're actor or director or whatever, you have to be to be focused with at every moment. When you are relaxed on parties, you have to find with whom you can take photos, with whom you can talk, because yellow stamps can use it in the wrong way. So
what are yellow stamps?
I met so many interesting people, people in whom I believe, sport athletes, artists, whatever, politicians. But you take care about with whom you are in group, in society, in parties or whatever.
So you use the phrase
side of our position.
You use the phrase yellow stamps. Is that like a specific type of media?
Yeah, we have here, especially because those times are very strange without movements. Everybody is equal. You have no hippie, punk. You have no left or right. Everything is big confusion in the world. And I'm on that position that artists have to say his own word. It's not my business, it's not my job just to be actor. My job, because I have big influence on the kids, on the people who surrounding me, of my nation, and I have to be, vertical.
Oh, okay.
Because of that, even, everyone has bad and good sides. Everybody, Picasso has one of the greatest painter, but and okay, some things you can forgive, but some things you cannot forgive.
Right.
And because of that, you have to be under information, because our responsibility of artists, of men who are we are people of books, of readings. Our responsibility is not the same like the common people. So excuse me if this funny story I transfer to very maybe serious situation, but it is the what waiting us behind the corner,
Right, and everybody wants to hear the story about how horrible people are, not how wonderful people are.
Yeah, because sometimes I put on Facebook during my, I don't know, basketball tournaments for veterans or whatever. I met some, also they recognized me even in let me say, Marco Cabrioli is member of Italian Mafia. I don't like photos with him. So I posted some photos with some celebrate men on my Facebook, and my friends say to me, come on, Misha, don't do that. They say, yo, come on, yeah. So we have to pay attention about that.
Don't post pictures with me, okay?
Marco.
In the States we call that cancel culture.
Yeah, that's it. When I was just a student of mechanical engineering, I could be drunk on the street. I could do everything, but now I have to pay attention about my appearance, about how I behave.
Misha, I have few pictures of you.
Not be under pressure, not be under the pressure all the time. Fuck that life, but just in case.
Marco, you were going to say something?
Yeah, there are a few pictures of Kapor in strange situations.
And it's time to bring out the photo gallery.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna blackmail him one day.
Okay, it looks as though we also have an extra special guest here, Paul Schumacher, Eric's father. Hello.
You're on mute.
Oh.
You got to unmute, Dad.
I'm unmuted?
You're unmuted.
Yeah.
Thank
Hi.
you for inviting me. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
So
Good morning.
as you've been hearing, this is a panel on Tales of the Set, where people talk about things that have happened to them either on the movie set or in the theater. And I'd love to hear one of your stories.
Oh, well, first job in Hollywood, we were nowhere. I had worked with a director who later became an agent, a sub-agent in Los Angeles. So anyway, he sent me out for a call at the Hollywood television studio where Stacy Keach was directing Incident at Vichy. And I was one of a group of 15 people who were standing in the courtyard of the studio where Chaplin had directed and or acted. And Stacy picked one guy for the one job that was open. And then just by chance, the producer was walking on one side of this courtyard. So Stacy called out to him, "Can I have another?" And he said, "Yes." So Stacy said, "You." So that was my first job in Los Angeles as something as an extra who it wasn't SAG, it was the other union, the television union. So nobody was designated as an extra, but this might work into something more. So that's one tale of my adventures in Hollywood. Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
yeah, it was amazing.
That's great. So do you have any embarrassing tales about Eric?
Any like baby photos or anything like that, perhaps as well? Like we should go all in.
Eddie.
Oh yeah. I have it. I have a wonderful story where Joan, my wife, Eric's mother, has mentioned. I was auditioning for a Shakespeare production up on a hill in Los Angeles, and I was doing scene with
Last for York.
the last word. Yes. So Eric and Joan were in the house. And while I was auditioning, Eric walked towards the stage and went up the temporary stairway and came right in front of me. And so we made eye contact, and alas, poor Yorick. Eric was about 2 years old. Yeah, Russ was pushing Eric on a swing, and Eric saying, how do you say it? Alas, poor Yorick. So I would be pushing Eric on the swing and reciting speeches from Shakespeare, and one of the things that Eric had to back was alas, poor Yorick.
Yeah, well, Eric's told us a lot of stories about you too, including how you and he used to fence in the park.
Yeah. There was a chair I was reluctant to let go of when we moved from California, from Northern California. It was a chair that had some indentations when we were fooling around, and Eric was playing around with his wooden martial arts sword and left dents in the chair. So I remember saying goodbye to that chair with sincere affection.
I think what Scott was referring to was when I think it was about 6 at the time. We were living in LA, and as part of my early training, we would every weekend we would go to the park, fence with plastic rapiers, and recite lines from Hamlet. And then afterwards, I made him every week take me to a little restaurant in Beverly Hills called the Hamburger Hamlet that had all these dioramas from Hamlet, and I made him tell me the entire story of Hamlet again every week. So I had the bug really early.
That's awesome.
Yes, it was wonderful.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes. We,
He pretended when he came and stood next to you when you were on the stage, auditioning, he ran up on the stage, and then you talked to him like he was Horatio.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Eric was my Horatio for the audition. The last one. Yeah. It was, yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the story.
I feel as if I know all of you. Yeah.
Well, family is, of course, very important as well. Does anyone else have stories of family and how that, and possibly either being on the set or being related to your career? One of you was talking about how your mother, yeah, Zoe.
Well, my career basically is my entire family. So I started out as a solo artist, and I kind of do alternative country, Americana, and a bit of rock here and a bit of blues there, and a whole bunch of other stuff in the middle. But my band consists of my whole family. So my dad is my lead guitarist. My brother is my drummer. My other brother is my keyboards and bassist, and my mum's my manager. And they all literally moved from Australia to the UK to follow me to chase this crazy idea that I had, where I decided that I wanted to do music as a career. So it's and that they do all the videos and they do pretty much everything with me. It's just like it's a full kit. So I couldn't possibly get more involved than that with family in what I do.
That's awesome.
That's
pretty cool.
awesome.
That's extremely cool.
I'm really, really fortunate to have such a supportive team.
Absolutely.
And family. And one of the other things that's really awesome about it actually is that in rehearsals, this is kind of off topic, but I think it's quite fun to tell. In rehearsals, because I'm like band leader, which they nominated me for because I'm the front person, they have to take orders from me, which is really kind of fun for me and not so much fun for them. But the great part is they are family, and they can't just say, well, that's it, we're out of the band, because if they do that, I still am at the same house and we're still relatives and there's nothing they can do about it. So it's kind of, that's awesome. But yeah, they can't get away.
So does anyone else have family stories they'd like to share?
Oh,
I've got one.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, you go. No, there you go.
Yeah, Michelle, why don't you go first and then Charlie?
Sure. Actually, there was a time when my dad stepped in because it was an emergency, and my camera guy ended up going to the hospital 3 hours before an important interview. And actually, Paul was involved in this too. Remember Paul 3 years ago? With Miss Universe? Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it all
Must have
started
been,
like
it was
this.
that traumatic, huh?
That's why I know he's one of my ultimate tried and tested friends, because he came through for this and he really didn't have to. So what was that, like 4 years ago, I had to interview Miss Universe because she was coming to Canada.
Remember it now.
And yeah, that one. So so I had my interview spot booked with her a week in advance, and everything was going well, and all's good. And so I asked the people who were supposed to help me with that, with the technical stuff, if they were okay, and they were like, okay, cool, book the interview, we're good. And I'm like, great. And the guy who was organizing the interview said, okay, you know what? I'll put you last. So you'll have more time with her, okay? Because everyone was allotted, I think, what 3 minutes or so, and then he was like, you can have 4 minutes, I'll just put you last. So I'm like, okay, sweet. And a week before that, right after I booked the interview, I had laryngitis.
Oh
So,
no.
yeah, so I'm like, oh, like, okay, this isn't good. Okay, everything's good. Crew was there. I got the tech support. The interview said, but I don't have a voice. I can't even speak. It's like, yeah, right. So I tried every remedy in the book, and then my mom stepped in, and she made me drink ginger tea 24/7. I'm not even kidding. It's not even funny. I had ginger tea and lemon and honey tea 24/7. Like I'd wait. No, she'd wake me up like around 2 a.m. Hey, it's time for your ginger tea. Glug. And then I'd sleep again. But you know what? It worked. The Monday, because my interview was on a Monday evening. So that was Monday evening, 6 something. And the Monday morning, I got my voice back. Sweet, right? So one of my friends messaged me and said, hey, are you okay? Did you get your voice back? And I was like, yeah, I got my voice back. And they're like, okay, sweet, go get her. And 3 hours before the interview, my camera guy called and said, hey, sorry, I can't make it. I'm going to the hospital because to the hospital. I was like, oh, okay, great. I'm like, 3 hours.
We just lost Michelle. Oh no! Right in the middle of the story.
Really, really good. Bug.
Sorry, am I? Can you hear me, guys?
You're back.
Hello. Can you hear me?
You're back.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sounds like it.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Am I back? Yeah, can you hear me? See me?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay. I don't know where we left off. What happened?
3
Camera
hours. Your
guy canceled
cameraman.
on me. Yeah, 3 hours
Cameraman.
before the shoot. And I'm thinking, there is no way I'm going to back out of this because it's like, okay, my name is on the line because the guy put me last. And then what am I going to do there? Show up and be like, I don't have a camera, or worse, cancel, you know? I can't cancel. I mean, that's just horrible. So like, the show must go on. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there was like, I didn't even have a camera or anything. So actually I had my own camera. It wasn't as good as the camera guy's camera, but I'm thinking worst case scenario, I can't go there empty handed. So I'll bring my dinky little camera with me, even if I have to shoot it myself. I brought my own tripod. And at that point I was working in front of the camera for a few years. So I had forgotten how to edit because I hadn't edited anything in years. Right. But I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. And then my dad helped me out. And then he drove me to that place in the middle of a snowstorm. And but we had to make a stop to buy. We had to buy a memory card because obviously I didn't have one that was good enough for that. So while I'm fiddling with the camera in the back trying to figure out how to use it because I hadn't used it yet because it was my Christmas present, but I didn't actually try to use it even before then. But I figured, hey, what better time is there than now when there's an emergency? So we drove through a snowstorm, got there, and while doing that, while in the car fiddling with my camera, I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, what am I going to do for audio and all this other stuff? And then I started making SOS calls. I went through my contact list. I was like, hey, I know this is terrible, but I know this is so last minute, but hey, my camera guy canceled on me literally less than 3 hours before the interview. Is there anybody who can make it? Because there is no way I'm going to show there empty-handed or cancel because it's just, no, that's just wrong. So fortunately, a lot of people wanted to get into the event because there was a very strict guest list and lots of media people wanted to get in there, photographers and all the other paparazzi peeps. And somebody responded to the call. So I knew somebody who called that person who said, yeah, totally. They just wanted to check out the event. I'm like, okay, sweet. Can they get here? I'm like, great, there's a snowstorm. I didn't even know how long it would take them to get there because, this wasn't planned at all. So I finally made it to the place and we had like 15 minutes to start the interview, and there were some other media people there. And one of them's freaking out, saying, "Hey, I don't know where my crew is. I haven't heard from them. I don't know where my crew is." And I'm thinking, I don't even know if I have a crew. I don't even know if I have a crew. Oh, well, so I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Worst case scenario, I'll just go there, wing it. So fortunately, somebody did show up. And they actually brought a friend with them because the friend also wanted to check out this event. It was because they really wanted to check it out. And while we were waiting in line for our turn, because I was going last, there was a photographer. There was like another camera guy waiting outside the venue who was begging to get in, but he didn't get an invitation. But he knew the guys who tagged along with me, like the guys I literally just met, who knows like my friend. And then this guy comes up to them, tries to tag along with them. And he's like, "Can you please let me in?" And then they're like, "Sorry, we're just tagging along with her." And then he comes up to me and says, "Hey, is it okay if I pretend to be part of your crew?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes. You got a working camera?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay, then come on." Okay, so everything came together in the last 5 minutes. We didn't even have a sound check or anything. And they said, "Okay, your turn. Everyone's out. Let's go." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, "Hey, let's go." And then I got this little recorder. It looks like a little mushroom, and I didn't really know how to use it because I was just borrowing that equipment from the person who helped me out. And it was also fast because we didn't even have a chance to talk to Miss Universe at the time, or really prep for anything. So while I'm there, I'm like bordering on, my stress levels were through the roof. I'm bordering on homicidal, but I can let that show, right? And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I hope the audio's working. So fortunately, the audio did work. We got the interview. So I'm like, okay, we got the footage. Okay, so that's good. Everything's great. Now what are we going to do with it? So I started editing when I got home, and I'm fumbling through this because I haven't edited in years. And then guess what? My software died. So my buddy, Randy, who's in the States, who was keeping in touch through all this, said, "Hey, so did you get footage?" I was like, "Yeah, I got the footage." And he's like, "So how's it going?" My software died. So he lent me his software, and I was like, "Hey, actually, since you're helping me out with this, why don't we just plug your commercial in the end? That's the only way I can say thank you, right?" So he ended up being a sponsor, and he ended up also helping me with the editing and stuff. I had trouble with the audio, and then Paul stepped in to help me out with that. So it was like this whole virtual collaboration. So it's me in Canada, Paul in Scotland, my buddy Randy in San Diego, and we released it right in time for International Women's Day of that year, 2017. Yeah, 2016. So yeah,
Wow.
that was pretty traumatic, but it turned out good. It all worked out in the end, thanks to you. Thanks, man. Like, seriously. So yeah, that was my crazy story.
Charlie, you said you had a story too?
Yeah, mine's like that was stressy. Mine's more on the cute end, but probably stressy because what you just told us there reminded me of another incident, that the prelude to why I was going to tell the cute story. So we did this kind of promotional movie. It was a little bit more than a video. It was this whole thing for IMAX screen. It was like the first IMAX screen in a visitor centre at least north of the Watford Gap, what we call Cumbria. And it was about an area called Reged, and it was an old Celtic tale about Urien, who was Urien means city king, and he ruled the whole of from Strathclyde all the way down to Cheshire, and it was a region called Reged in the old Celtic legends, and it's a true story. But anyway, so we were doing this whole video for the IMAX screen to promote this new visitor centre that was opening up. And what happened was, at some point in when it all began, when they pulled all the film footage together, they discovered in this crazy big camera, the camera person, and I don't know if this is true, but this is the excuse we were given, because we had to reshoot the whole thing again. There was no film in the camera.
Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can tell how old this by the fact that there was no film in the camera.
Oh my God.
They had to reshoot the whole thing again. Crap for them, really bad for them. Awesome for us.
You got paid twice.
Double pay.
Yeah, we got paid again, you know. So that's a disaster. But out of that disaster, by that time, my son, he was around. No, it was a little bit less than that. It was about 14 months old, 15 months old. But he was not a normal 15-month-old child. And you would understand what I'm talking about by not normal, because if you see him now,
He's 7'2". He's a giant.
Jesus.
But there's a lovely little twist behind that tale as well, because we went back down to film it, and we were all getting fed lunch in a local pub, a local establishment. I don't know if you use the word pub in America, and over here pub.
Only when we want to sound really cool.
Yeah.
We drink alcohol and we eat food, but in this particular one, it was on the campsite where we were all camping. All the participants of the movie, the extras, even the principal actors, local, all the horse stables and everything was there. So I had my son with me, and he's at one point, the bar staff took to him so much. He's a bit of an old soul, my son, and we used to call him even then Mr. Finn, because it was like he was an old soul. You know, he's just kind of one of these children that he was just way beyond his years, even although he wasn't even a year old, or just over a year old at the time. But he was behind the bar pulling pints and beers, and the bar staff loved him. And he had every bottle in two hands, and he was popping the caps off and handing the beers over. And if that wasn't enough, that it was endearing and people were like all gushy over he comes out from behind the bar, and he kind of understood the whole thing about stunts, and he climbed up on the stool, and the stool's tall, a bar stool. He was taller than him. He climbs up on the stool in front of all the audience, and at the top of his voice, he shouts, "Stunt, baby!" and jumps off the stool. And I've never seen so many big guys go, "Oh!" And he jumps on the floor and did a forward roll. Came up off, and everybody was like, this small child just jumped off the bar stool. So,
after serving beer.
Everybody thought he was a lot older than he was. But fast forward 23 and a half years later, he just did his debut in film, his directional debut, which was acting debut. Sorry, which was probably, well, for me, it was the rush I got seeing him on screen was the equivalent to my first big thing, which was on Gladiator. And I witnessed my son running towards another army with his army behind him, as I did. But instead of with a severed head in his hand, he body checked a horse with a rider on it, and that threw it off to the side. And this was like, I'm sorry, but
I was convinced it was like a plastic horse and it was CGI'd, but it was actually a stunt horse. The horse was real, which blew me away. It was amazing.
This 7-foot monster of a boy.
Yeah.
What production?
Talk about
had so many proud father moments in my time, but standing there, seeing my son jump off of a bar stool taller than him to go and body check a horse with a rider on it and put it on its side. I can't express how proud I am of that boy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
I think stunt baby is just asking for a line of t-shirts to get made.
Yeah, right.
That just sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
I never
We've
tired.
a whole series of t-shirts this evening, haven't we?
Charlie, Cara, you guys better hop on that. Seriously.
Everybody.
I'll buy one.
How much more of a Scottish baby could you get though, serving 7 pints of beer at like 14 months old?
Yeah, and
I love that.
Oh, so we could, yeah.
He's very cute. Yeah.
He's still cute. No, he's 7 foot 1. When he hugs me now, I'm like this when he hugs me. Like him when he.
Wow. So 2 o'clock, which is the end of our scheduled time, we're going to continue on for a little bit. However, if anybody wants to go check out the TusCon YouTube page, we have a Jill Bauman interview going on right now, and we're going to have lots of different stuff throughout the rest of the day on our YouTube page. So if you want to leave us, go to that. Great. We'll be doing stuff all day long. But, we're here and we are not going to have the ability to talk to these amazing people all together ever again, probably. So.
It's a time for rejoicing as the whole world prepares for the crowning of the newest sovereign. The great event approaches. The little prince rests for his moment of triumph. But wait, here's someone interfering with the royal proceedings. Why, it's good old Father Time himself. What's he up to? Seems like he's really after the little fellow. Yes, sir, things seem mighty dark for his unsuspecting subjects. The warning sounds, and in a flash, there goes Father Time, lost in the mist of life. And with him, no, not with him, he's all alone. Why, he only came to prepare the little fellow for his royal coming out. So places everybody, it's coronation time. Let's all join in welcoming the newcomer with the loudest greeting of them all. Happy New Year!
So for those who don't know particularly for our audience members, if you haven't participated in this event at TusCon before, kind of our standard operating procedure is that we just tell stories until we're all sick of it or the audience is sick of it.
They turn out the lights.
Until
they turn out the lights.
When we're live at TusCon, we're usually the last panel on the last day, and we typically have the largest attendance, and we've had audiences stick around with us for 3 straight hours because this is just such a blast. And and once again, it is a blast, and I got to thank all of you guys for coming and bringing your wonderful experiences and personalities to this. So audience members, we love it if you stick with us a little longer. Feel free to go if you want to, but thank you all for being here either way.
Awesome. Can I say something?
Oh, Scott, yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to hang on for a little while, but I am filming tomorrow. We're making a sizzler for what will hopefully be a Sky History Channel documentary. So I have to shoot off in a little while because I have to get up early tomorrow and be on site at Duncarron, our medieval village, to finish the sizzler that will hopefully get us the series. If we do get the series, it will be filmed at Duncarron.
Fantastic.
Fabulous.
Well, I should add that one of the rules of the panel as well is that our panelists, if you need to go, just go. It's all good. we're just glad you came. So and Charlie, that's filming tomorrow. You know, everyone on this panel understands that. So break a leg, my friend.
I'll put 5 in. Thank you. Thank you. So pleasure to meet you all, by the way. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's lovely to meet you guys.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And Cara, maybe next time he'll let you have a couple of words in.
Yeah.
To be fair, no, to be fair, he has the better stories because he gets up to so much mischief and trouble and injures himself. It's much more interesting than what I have to say.
Perhaps we can hear the version of your stories about Charlie on set next time. Like
Yeah.
your perspective.
Okay,
That'd
so
be
what
interesting.
really happened was.
Yeah, that's like that'd be the way to go. Mhm.
So you're trying to create marital strife here. That's not right.
I'm creating merchandise slogans here. I think this is a great way to finish the evening. This is you know.
Yeah, we'll do the t-shirt.
You totally should do the t-shirt. I'm serious. I'm buying one.
Yeah, stunt, I could see Stunt Baby just selling out.
Yeah.
Becoming its own thing, yes.
It's a film title, actually.
Like with
Leaping off a stool.
Stunt Baby.
Mm.
I see the gears whirring in Charlie's head right now. He's like, yes. You're gonna have like a line of pads and for children, you know. They'll have YouTube videos. Here's how to throw your kid off a building without killing him.
I'll leave that, Jackson. Oh.
Brilliant.
Oh,
sorry, I'm Scottish humour. That's all. Like I said, how it is.
So I'm Australian. I think we're good with it. It's okay.
It's just everybody's a bit like, should I laugh at that? Yeah,
Scotland and Australia, two cultures not known for exactly being wimpy or anything. So
this is a joke, you know. A Scottish and an Australian on a Zoom chat. I mean, what could go wrong?
There's got to be a joke in there somewhere. Yeah.
We need an Englishman somewhere and an American, you know. Yeah.
And Eastern Europeans as well.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Eastern Europeans.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean we could start some epic jokes in this room, I think. It's been really fun, guys.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely enjoyed it.
Which what?
Awesome. And I'm now I've figured out how to do it without relying on my laptop. We can just do it on the mobile phone.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an intriguing hairdo you've got there, man.
Who's that? Is that me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. It's from the side.
What?
I wished I could get mine to have that kind of volume. Like I was doing these music videos and honestly fighting the wind and everything, and I just had the worst time. And I'm just looking at you thinking, I could have just used your advice. Like
honestly, I don't know.
so
I have no advice. What I did to get my hair to do this was, one, I didn't know I was going to do this. It was about 5 years ago, and I got sick and tired of cutting my hair because I grew up in Nigeria. We're told that the only way to be presentable is to have, cut hair. And I remember one day I kind of just said, I'm tired of being told what I should be. And I just decided to just grow out my hair and let it do its own thing and see what happens. And it started growing, and then I got lazy. So I didn't want to even, take care of it. I didn't comb it, and I didn't do anything. And then over time, it just kind of started to dread up and create these little, I call them colonies. And in time, they all kind of clumped together, and it grew high, and then gravity took over, and now it's falling down. So it's just, it's the most random of art pieces that my hair's created.
love it.
You can put lights for Christmas,
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
So Does anyone in the audience have a question? Use the hand thing and Eric will unmute you and you'll be able to ask. Anyone?
They've all gone.
Any questions?
Anything
No?
so
No,
far?
they're
I'm not seeing
listed.
anything so far.
Maybe they should throw it in the chat box.
Let me see.
There are 10.
There haven't been any. The only thing that's been in the chat box is somebody asked us about a virtual consuite, and we're working on that.
Oh,
You see one? There's one on. You see it, Eric?
No, I don't.
Well, Richard. There was a one for Richard down there. Richard Michael.
Oh, that was actually direct to
Oh.
to the other Mr. Schumacher here.
Yeah, I didn't catch all of it. I started reading it. It went away.
Somebody just said they don't have microphones, so they can't speak. I
Okay,
guess.
well, feel free to just send a message in the chat as well. And it's nice to just listen to stories anyway. I second that too. But if
Yeah.
anyone does have a question, if it's easier, please feel free to just put a message in the chat by typing it out. And that will be fine.
So I don't know if it's the same for you. So Michelle was talking about having laryngitis a while back.
Hold on, we do have
because-
a question. I'm sorry, and a mic for the group. So hold on, let me get Richard online here if I can. Oh, and Michelle. Let me find it. Hold on, got a lot of people in here.
Here they come.
Here we go. Oh, hold on. Okay. Oh, I think I got you. Did I get you?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Awesome. It was awesome watching and listening to all of you. Eric, it's really good to see you too. I always say that Beard is killer. I really do think that he needs to be like the next gruff, navigator during the next zombie apocalypse because
I have appropriate skills for that.
But I wanted to hear that because there was such a diversity in skill set and in focus, but consistently, I heard a lot of stories that came from the set where it was like funny and it was familiar sometimes depending on who you worked with. It was more personal and accommodating. Did you notice a difference when it changed from, let's say, smaller independent projects to larger productions? What kind of personal aspects did you see kind of lost when it got more financed or official in your works?
I can start. I think for me, I always love working on smaller projects. Like the big projects are very important, obviously. If you want to grow, you need to do the bigger projects. But I love working on the smaller ones because I'm a massive advocate for diversity and inclusion. And luckily, I've been given a lot of roles where I don't play the stereotypical, black guy in a project. But I mean, I've had to turn down big roles because they wanted me to be a thug, and I'm very much against that idea of reinforcing stereotypes that are just that are harmful. And I find that whenever I work on smaller projects, indie projects, that there's much more of a passion for creativity and like I said, inclusion and diversity, where people want to do things that go outside the realms of what our expectations. So you find, you're able to play roles that maybe in bigger projects, they might not necessarily want you to play because they might have their minds fixed on you being a certain, type of character. But in smaller projects, you get to really play around. Like I played many different things and yeah, so I'm like I said, I'm just a massive advocate for diversity and inclusion, and I kind of want to see the day where we see bigger projects kind of take it more seriously, and don't just do it because I find a lot of times in the bigger projects, I'm not saying it's everyone, but a lot of them they try to be diverse and inclusive, but they're just more pandering. They're doing it because they feel they have to, and it doesn't feel authentic. Whereas in smaller projects, it just always feels more real, more down to earth, and more believable. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think there's a passion for creativity that really exists in the smaller projects.
Absolutely.
I would love to chime in if that's cool. Yeah. So in my experience, I started 2 series on my own with 0 budget, casting, crewing, writing, directing, editing, everything. And like as indie as it could be, skeleton crew and everything. And then I built it up to, okay, and I don't know where it is. Now we're streaming on IGTV or we're with Facebook Watch or whatever. But I've also gotten the opportunity to be like the gratefully Dave Coulier, who you may know from Fuller House,
Uncle Joey.
Full House. Yeah, a really great guy, good friend. And I got to go on Fuller House and, you know, spend the days there. And so I've had a lot, even just as an actor on my own, being on bigger sets compared to indie sets. And what I will say is the best thing, I don't know about from everyone else's perspective, because I wore multiple hats on the indie projects I did. Give me a big budget set any day, please, because I can't do that many damn jobs. Like, that's the thing that really I was like, somebody help. I don't understand how anyone does this. How does anyone do this? How is anyone on a set? Like, I mean, I was on Fuller House and I'm watching Dave because he directed a lot of the episodes, right? And I'm watching him and I'm, you know, the crew and everyone, the cool people, everything's chill, everything's great. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this looks so easy. And I know it's not, right? I know it's not. I know it's hard work. But I'm sitting there thinking, oh, wow, all he has to do is direct. He doesn't have to run the camera, run audio, remember his lines, be on the mark, edit it later. Like, and not to say all indie sets are that way, but I don't really, yeah, it's, oh my God, I can't, that's the biggest difference to me. I'm like, please, yes, give me all the help, give me the biggest budget so I don't have to do like 97 things. I can do one thing and do it well, and that's it.
You mean there's a way you don't have to do it all yourself?
Right? I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And it's funny because, you know, I did so much indie, and that was one of the cool things when I was there. Like, he was showing me different departments, like, you know, all that. And I got to like do all the jobs on every department for a network show, and everyone's so great, blah, 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 or shadow everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I was just consistently floored. Like, that's it? That's all you do? Really? I couldn't handle it. Like, every time you'd make a lap, and like, I'd take like 5 things of food because I'm forever eating. And I literally come back around 2 seconds later, it's all refilled. I'm like, what? How? Or, you know, camera department, like I got a chance to, I don't know if you watch Fuller House, if you have Netflix, go on there. It's the Thanksgiving episode of the latest season that was released. So that's what I was there for. And I was with this beautiful woman who does camera, and she did it on the Full House show too, which is really cool because they brought a lot of the same crew back. But she let me frame a shot and do it and everything on the like studio cameras. And I remember standing there going, there's someone's job is to carry these cords.
So
Get
you actually bring up a really cool point, that in the bigger productions, if you're able to focus on that one job, that one specific task, I can only imagine it allows better mastery. I mean, you're not one butt on 2 horses or one butt on 10 horses. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And I will say that's another side of the, I think, emotional thing I experienced from having all these different types of experiences from different places and budgets and, you know, all that. Before I had the experience of doing it all myself, direct, you know, whatever, I was quick, admittingly, right? We all have our faults. I was quite quick to see another director or hear a story or whatever. I think we mentioned it slightly earlier about cancel culture, and to see something be like, wow, that person's an asshole, right? Can't believe it. Who does that? Then having the other side of the experience and being like, damn, who knows what that poor person went through? You know, like, you might see a director and they might have, you know, independent or not, you're still a human being, you know, And it gets extremely overwhelming when you are the head of an entire series and have to make all these decisions about script changes and does the network approve, and an actor comes in and says, you know what, I don't want to know my lines, and you're like, what? And you have 2 hours till sundown, and you don't see any of that, but you see the explosion that no one explains. And that is something that I will always carry with me, of having that experience too, about, regardless, someone may have to had taken on more than one thing, someone may have to had done something or had a private conversation that you have no idea about. So that's one of the things. It's a little less overwhelming when you get to like studio network level, but yeah, I was like, dang, this is nice. Okay, all right. I'm here for this. Every time I make a lap, there's more Oreos. Here for it.
If I may say, I'd like to write off of one part of that, because Milorad, you spoke a little bit earlier about, the more you're in the public eye, how important it is to really watch what you say, watch your image, watch how you treat people, and so on. And yeah, I mean, April, that's a really, really excellent point. It's I don't think there's any aspect of media making that is not intensely stressful. And
100%.
I think I'd be shocked if any of us disagreed with that. Because it's just, this stuff is really hard, regardless of your budget. It's really difficult to do. You're taking something that doesn't exist and bringing it into reality in a way that hopefully an audience really enjoys and can't see the machinations behind. And that's just a tough thing to do. So you're just under constant intense pressure. If your budget is small, you could be under less time pressure, but you're under, but typically less people are doing more jobs, and it's that much harder to execute. But if you're on a bigger budget, you're under a huge time schedule, because time is money, and everyone is, there for just X amount of time, and their day is, your budget, and you've got to come in on schedule, and anything goes wrong, you're in hell. You're trying to figure out what to do about it, because the whole thing could go down. Which of course is the same thing on the smaller level as well, but it's the bigger the budget, the higher the pressure on the different side. So I think that's that you're right. I mean, giving people a grain of salt. I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody say, "Oh, I was on a set with so and so once. What an asshole." And they might have just been having one bad day at one bad moment,
Right.
but
You
now
have no
everyone in the
idea.
world is talking about them and saying what an asshole. And yeah, or what they're, and not to mention everyone's under their general pressure as well, their life pressure. I mean, they may be trying to make their rent while they're working on a big movie set, they may be trying, they may have, I've been on sets after people who were close to me just died, or things like that. And as an actor, of course, you've got to just let that go while you're in character. So, I mean, all the best do try really hard to be present for everyone and to be, to treat people well. But we all have our moments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're all human. And the thing
Well, I might not be, but that's another story.
I can't even tell you, even just doing chair gang, how many times honest to God, I was having a nervous breakdown, an absolute nervous breakdown, because I don't think people understand either that it's not easy just to get budget. It's not easy to get a crew. It's not easy. So a lot of us, yes, we have this passion and dream, but unless you bust your ass, it's not handed to you. So, and that comes with a whole nother level of stuff. You know what? A lot of people like the carpet and the lights, but can you put in the work? And that's a whole nother side of it that people don't understand, because you get on a set with people that say, yeah, I want to be here, and they can't put in the work when it's an indie and they're not getting their ass wiped. Sorry, it's true. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You got to figure it out and move on and like do work.
It's like lots of good intentions, just not lots of good output, right?
Yeah.
Or follow through.
Yeah. And I mean, it can get extremely overwhelming, especially building yourself a career. Like I said, I can't count how many times I was doing chair gang where I was absolutely having a nervous breakdown, where I'm having to do camera because I can't find anyone else to do it, and we just can't pay you. And there's like literally no one that just wants to volunteer for nothing. And then, you know, okay, I gave everyone this script 2 weeks ago and 5 people don't know one line. And then we have to shoot because there's 1,000 mirrors in this damn salon and we can't see anyone in a mirror. So it takes, you know, and then we have to worry about sunlight because we don't have a budget. So we have to literally go from page 1 to the end of it. And then you've got your actors walking around and you're in a scene and you're talking to person helping you with camera, but then you're trying to check audio and then you're trying to tell everyone what they're doing in a scene, and then you film it and you turn around in the editing room because you were so damn busy on set that you don't realize 3 people left snacks, water bottles, scripts right on the counter after you told them 4 times very nicely not to.
And I
Like,
think that
that's a lot of stuff you will never hear from a director. And when you get onto like studio sets or big budget sets, then you have money and lawyers and legal where you can't say a word. So a lot of times these actors, and of course it's not really ethical for a director to like air any grievances, because then there comes cancel culture and that's a whole nother thing. But actors have a more easier time if you're just an actor to be like, oh yeah, this was hard, this person was an ass, whatever, and they're kind of looked over. But if a director came out and said, oh really, okay, you didn't know your lines, you showed up drunk, you were screaming, like no one ever says that. They just have to shut up and take it and deal with it and deal with whatever happened and figure out a way to handle it and just internalize it. And that is extreme. I was in tears a lot of times. Like, this is what I want to do more than anything in this world. But I cannot fathom how people do this. Like,
you know, I really appreciate everybody, especially you, April, for mentioning that, because there are 2 main things that I always really love about film and all artistry is that many of the viewers that see it only get to see one tiny element. They see the element that's been crafted. The real work, the real artistry is those days that are in there that you're working with the actors, with the crew, with all the things when you're at home and you have that idea and then you realize, oh no, they're not going to be there. All those elements are the things that are really the whole of that final product. And it's like in any kind of business, no one remembers all the compliments. They just want to remember the complaint, right?
Yourself in Schumacher, all of them, her family and Chick, all fucking connected. What an amazing thing she did.
Hey, can you mute Dundee?
Thanks to you fucking feeding that big bastard.
Someone is.
I believe it's Dundee. I see that window.
Yeah.
Wait, Dundee, turn your mic off.
You can see the look on his face, like you made sure. I know you like that. You made sure. No,
I think that's Zoe's dad.
Don't know who it is. Someone
Has he worked
is
it out?
having a different conversation.
Dundee.
I'm not sure who that is.
Eric, you should be able to mute.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay.
Okay.
Very good. You got it.
So hopefully that's right. Okay.
So we do have a question from the audience.
Thank you, everyone.
Sandy would like to hear how fight scenes are choreographed and how they can go wrong, funny, or otherwise.
Oh no! If only we had a world-class fight choreographer who could answer that question.
Who, me? Hey, me.
No, I think we were waiting for Zoe to answer that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was this one guy. Do carry on. I think I'm the only person in this room that isn't actually qualified in combat really at all. So yeah.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I guess. Well, the Combat International, the whole ethos behind Combat International was when I first got into film really early on, I saw a niche in the market. Now, stuntmen, I've always, and I still have, the utmost respect for these guys. But 25 years ago, without sounding derogatory, stuntmen were good at setting themselves on fire and jumping out of buildings, but the fighting was not what it is today. And I strongly believe that the likes of myself and guys, and just the demand, the huge interest in around the world in all different countries and cultures in martial arts has kind of pepped up the whole attitude towards combat in film. Now, I've probably kicked off a few things that were kind of came in competition with us, but we are the original, I would say, SPACs, which was a new thing that came around when people saw a bunch of hairy Scottish guys coming down to England and stealing all the work. We weren't stealing any work. We were invited because of our skills and our attitude. And to kind of touch on the subject of, people leaving things on set and directors throw their hair out because things aren't going the way they should go, and they only see it when they get to the editing suite. The thing that inspired me most was Braveheart, and don't get me started on Braveheart. It did a lot of things for our economy and woke up our culture, that there was a lot more to Scottish culture than shortbread biscuits and pipers and bottles and things you can buy in the high street in Edinburgh. But it boosted my whole attitude towards film in Scotland, or film in general, and the combat side of things, because I saw 60 million budget, Braveheart, I saw two guys in the background like this and having a laugh. And it was the one...
Waving rubber swords, basically.
And having a laugh, A film about a very famous guy, and I take my history seriously, William Wallace, who it just kind of ridiculed the whole battle scene, and it saddened me that director and that guy in the editing suite had nothing else to choose from, because the only shot that worked was that one, and the two guys in the background, it wasn't a water bottle, it wasn't a cup of coffee, it wasn't a branded cup of coffee left somewhere. Starbucks thing. It was two guys having a crack in the back, not taking it seriously. So that inspired me to set up the combat team, Combat International, to annihilate that and create buffer zones around the principal actors, so that anything that would ever happen again was in the way back in the background and out of focus, so that all the actors and all the stunties could get on with their work, knowing that there was a bunch of guys around them that were knocking 9 barrels of crap out of each other to make it look as realistically as possible, because we're passionate about what we do. And the other side of the sword to that was that we could raise money for our project, our Duncarron medieval village, the Living History project, and the education side of it. So we have now become something that brings something to the set that makes it all that little bit more realistic. And we get a shout from people like Ridley Scott saying, I want Chickeney's guys on a movie set. So we're actually being requested on set, and we train not to have accidents happen. Yeah. The only time accidents ever happen is when extras, or we call them SAs now, supporting artists, because extras became
a bad word, as a lot of words have become lately in society. And due respect, the guys, movies wouldn't happen without these supporting artists or these extras. So you've got to give it credit where it's due. But what happened was a lot of our injuries were sustained from extras being overzealous, having no education or experience with weaponry, and they would just charge right through the middle of our fight scene and smack one of us, And the biggest fear for me was that one of my guys was going to get his knuckles wrapped, and he couldn't go back to his day job, whether it was IT or building a brick wall, or we've got guys from all walks of life, from bankers, architects, brick builders, historians, people that work in IT and offices,
all kinds. And the biggest buzz for them is coming on set, raising money for our project, giving up half their wages and working in film. So it's safety is paramount for us. So that kind of whittles down the accidents. I mean, we just came off Matt Damon and Ridley Scott's movie in Ireland, The Last Duel, and one of our guys got trampled by a horse, you know, and fortunately for us, the guy's a bit of a freeman. He wanders around and works, so, and he didn't sustain massive injuries. But the last time we had an accident with a horse, it was one of my drummers from our band, Kevin Johnson, and he got run over by a stallion, and the stallion should never have been on set, in my opinion. And he got trampled, and he put his hand over his head. He didn't get his head smashed in, but it smashed his hand.
Ooh.
And he was a drummer, and he couldn't play.
Ooh.
You know, Zoe, you know Kevin.
Yeah. I didn't know that it happened.
Whitebeard. He got he got a spiral fracture in his thumb. Spiral. It took months, so that took the food off our tables for quite a while, and certainly has. We're not the kind of band where you could just get a replacement drummer, so you have to be very careful with your guys. And I'm always, when I'm on set, 9 times out of 10, I'm in there in the thick of making sure my guys are safe, and I've got my eyes everywhere. So we teach our guys when we're fighting on set, if there's horses involved, if my back's to the horse, my guy in front of me that I'm smashing away at, he has got his eyes on what's happening behind me. And if that horse gets within any range of us, you get pulled out of the way by your own guy. You know, so in answer to the initial question, that's how we deal with it. And that's how we keep ourselves safe on set.
So basically you try to have each other's backs, you know, because we're such a big group, you know your fight style, you know the other person, you look out for them, you watch out for them so they don't get hurt. And sometimes I think we've all seen this before, people tend to gravitate, especially SAs and so on, if the camera changes angle, you'll see this happening. Someone leaves their mark even though they were placed.
Everyone starts doing the worm. Sorry.
I think it's normal, and it's fun. And I get where they're coming from. They want to get that credential and have that picture of, look, mom, that's me, and it's cool. But it does get people injured because you're getting placed for a reason.
And it ruins a shot.
Yeah, and it ruins a shot.
And 9 times out of 10, whoever's edited and go, there's that guy again, and he gets edited out. And we've seen it with guys. We've experienced these kind of guys on set, and they end up not even in any shot.
Yeah.
You know, they get totally, and they're probably sitting in front of the telly with their family going, oh, you'll see me here and you'll see me there. And then they get seen nowhere. So that it's kind of, they're detrimental to themselves, but they're also dangerous for our guys. So we have a constant battle. And the stunt scene, they totally respect us. And it's taken 25 years for our reputation to get to that level where we walk onto a film set, stunties are coming up and hugging us, and go, you know, and because they know us, we're part of their family, and our sole job on set is to make it as safe as possible for them. In other words, we kind of take the hits, you know, and their job is to stay safe and make sure that they carry out the stunts and make the principals look epic. Our job is to help the stunties look epic and keep them safe. So we're kind of like a big buffer zone.
Yeah.
So on any set that we get invited onto, that's our place. And we are, for us, safety's paramount, you know, so, but we have a lot of fun.
If I may, in my very unqualified way, add to that a little bit, because I am not a fight choreographer, but I've worked with some, and you know, as an actor myself, there are times where I will want to do a minor stunt. I do like doing my own fight scenes because I'm a martial artist. However, for anyone who has not experienced that, and I know all of you guys, I know several of you are martial artists and have also worked in fight scenes on sets. totally different than regular martial arts. The best thing that I've been able to take from my martial arts background is that I have very good control over my body, but you really need to listen to the fight choreographer, because what you do as a martial artist in real life does not work on the set, and you will get someone hurt. So it feels very awkward. The first time that I really did any fight work on a set, it just felt incredibly awkward because it's so different. And anytime I feel, while I do like to do the occasional stunt, I'm not stupid. I mean, I know when I'm going to probably hurt myself, or I know when I might take a fall, and I'm not a trained professional in fight choreography or stunt work, and I would much rather have a stunt person do that because it will look good. And if I do it, I mean, I'll probably prevent myself from getting hurt, but it's going to look awkward. No matter how many times someone tries to teach me how to fall properly, I'd rather have someone who really knows what they're doing do that, because that's what they love to do. That's what they're good at. And if I don't get injured as a principal, then, nothing shuts down. So mad respect to the fight choreographers on our call here, because it's absolutely essential. And also, I would add to, I second what Charlie said about and Kara about what I call background actors. There are people who are very, very good at that, and they are background actors, and they really help you sell the scene. And I respect every human being who walks on the set, particularly if they're, helping sell that scene that I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, we have another.
Yeah, and if I can expand upon that, if
go
that's
ahead.
cool. For anybody also that is an aspiring actor, or you're an actor and you're working on sets, I think it's so important, no matter what the budget, no matter who's doing it, no matter who's around you, to always 24/7, 365, listen to your intuition. If your gut tells you this doesn't feel right, this feels scary, whatever, listen to it. Don't go above and beyond when you really truly feel like something's wrong. And I mention that because I know probably everyone's a little bit familiar with that poor woman, Sarah, who lost her life on a set not too long ago. I forget her last name, my apologies, but I do know there was some discussion regarding that certain people were blaming it on the fact that it was non-union, and that was like the reason for it. And I very respectfully would have to argue against that I've been on very many non-union sets where everyone has had very professional people, and safety has been number one at all times. But what I think that may speak to a little bit is the fact that so many people on that set felt like it was wrong, felt like it was off, felt like it was weird, and they just kept saying yes. And that speaks to the overall, I think, potential, I don't know if the word intimidation is correct, but people on sets, they feel scared to say something. They feel like they're going to lose a job. They feel like they'll never work again. They feel, whatever. So what did this young woman do? Because she wanted this career and she wanted it, she went and stood on a bridge on top of, and that's who didn't say, what? No, we're not doing that. Absolutely not. No one. So, and that's not to say it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, listen to your gut. I had a good friend of mine, and I'm sure Charlie can speak to this far better, but a good friend of mine did stunts for a lot of the films that came to Michigan. He was a stunt driver and a lot of things. And he, and I spoke quite a bit, and I was kind of interested in it. I've done martial arts. I think it's cool. I like it, and we were going to go on a very big set, and I will not name the name of the set. And it was a very big car chase scene, very big. He made it very clear to me that this is, he's driving the car, he's trained, I'll be belted, all the safety precautions. This is what's going to be happening. Then he comes back to me. And this was a very big budget film. It's been in theaters. You all know what it is. And he came back to me and he said, yeah, we ain't doing it. So sorry. And I'm like, what do you mean we're not doing it? And he said, oh, well, because the production wanted me to do like all this stuff that he's like, no, absolutely not. That's unsafe. No, like you just don't do that. You just can't do that. So your stunt coordinators, your fight coordinators, all of those people are there, and really they're above production because someone could die. So he was like, yeah, I ain't doing it. And they tried to talk him into doing it regardless that it was a big thing about like people being too close to him and they wanted, it was a big thing, but he's like, no, I'm not. People can die. If one thing goes wrong, everyone's dead. Like, I'm not doing it. No. And he would not budge. And they let him go and hired someone else that would say yes. So that's just to say, even if you're on a big set, big studio, big budget, I mean, we all know what everyone kept ignoring with Rose McGowan. So speak up and say if something doesn't feel right, no matter what. You got to listen to that gut, because sometimes, unfortunately, that's what you got to do, unfortunately. But a lot of times everything's good. I'm just saying, always go with what you feel feels right, you know?
And there's that whole time when things happen just by accident or just human error. But you know, I think there's that whole thing now, that whole thing about stunt culture being ignored, and you know, when people are getting fatally wounded or worse, you know, they have to live with that. Yeah. You know, loss of limbs and stuff like that, and becoming disabled. And can you imagine any one of us being robbed of your dream and not being able to continue through some mindless accident just because you were pushed by the production to do the job, because that whole culture pushes you. You know, it's just sad, you know. It's just, and they still don't get Oscars or Grammys or anything for the work that they do. And you know, again, that needs to change.
Yeah, I remember hearing something from the woman that did all the stunts for The Matrix, and they were like not going to give her credit anywhere. And Keanu Reeves was like, if you don't, we gonna have a problem. But there was a huge story there too about, it was very involved, but yeah, pretty much exactly what you said. It was pretty much the same.
Okay, we have another question from Will to Milorad. He's intensely interested in Serbian folk tales, and especially tales about Sava Savanovic, the original badass Serbian vampire. Do you have any insights into that character?
Hey guys, before you answer the question, I actually have to drop. Unfortunately, I gotta audition tomorrow. I have to go actually learn lines for. So I need to.
Stephen Voice, amazing musician and actor. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, yo. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Thanks.
I've got to piggyback on that. I also have to head out.
April Watchko, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Thanks, April. Thank you.
So, do you need to answer or what?
Yeah, of course. Go.
Yeah. Only Serbian word that exists in a world language is vampire. Vampire is from Serbian language. Even the most famous vampire is Dracula from Romania, from Transylvania. But Romania they are our neighbors. So I'm not so happy because the only word from Serbia well-known is vampire because he's blood drinker, but you know, we are good guys, believe me. Okay, Sava Savanovic is like a first and well-known vampire from Serbia, and he was guy who worked in a mill. He was millman. You know, millman. Yep.
Yeah.
And even in film industry, the horror movie is the most. If you want to earn money, it's better to go to horror movie, horror genre than to another one, because it's the best balance between income and outcome, of course. And you know, you have some other genre is a trash horror. And a movie about we have not so many horror movies in Serbia in the horror genre, but one of the most famous is about Sava Savanovic. It's really trash, but very, very famous. Okay, in my previous theater troupe named Double Bottom, we made a play in theater about Sava Savanovic, but we read that drama on that way that Sava Savanovic is not vampire, was not vampire. All of us, we are vampires. We are blood drinkers, and because of that, Sava Savanovic is normal and positive guys. We point on them. You are vampire. You are vampire. And it was, and we at first time in maybe in theater history, especially in this area, we tried to use 3D projections. Oh, come on, people! It's long story. It was during sanctions, European sanctions. No, I'm just talking about NATO bombing. About sanctions. we are very normal period right now, except COVID. But you know, it's really story because how to make 3D in the theater. It is you have projections, black, blue, and red glances on your glasses. You know, it was how to in that period and how to find this red and blue not canvas. It's
film. It's like the
folio.
Yeah.
Okay, but Sava Savanovic, okay, 80 kilometers west south from Belgrade, capital city of Belgrade. It is the mill. It's situated. And where is now it is tourist attraction where like Sava was worked in during his life. So so now it is on our tourist organization to make, you know, because I'm very proud and I like because that guy is interested in Sava Savanovic. So Sava Savanovic was vampire. So and we made a performance about Sava Savanovic. It was one of the most horror movie in Serbia about Sava Savanovic. So that's it for now. If you are interested more, you can ask me.
Great.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Do you understand me well? You know, I'm perfect in English. I'm perfect in English when I got the lines. But
No, we can understand you fine.
Yeah.
Eric, I'm jealous about your father. Your father knows English. My father knows.
Well, thank you.
So does anyone else have any questions? Either raise your hand or put something in the chat.
Eric, where is your
No?
Sorry, I would just like to point out that Kara is actually from Transylvania. So, you know, now here in the United States, all we know about Transylvania is vampire. So I'm just saying, could be a vampire, possibly. That's how smart we are here in the US of A. Let me tell you.
Vampires are ugly, not pretty like I am.
Well, you look the part a little more, which is why I'm suspicious of her. Because vampires are sneaky.
I'm just saying, between the Scottish midge, you know the midge, it's like a mosquito,
yes, okay.
really
Oh,
small. They take blood, and between the Scottish midge and Cara, I've lost.
Oh, man.
What you do for love, right, Charlie? Oh my God!
Watch yourself.
Yeah, but the vampire thing keeps creeping up every time you say Transylvania. The reason I'm not trying to sound pretentious when I say it, but and probably Milo will know this. Romania itself is quite a recent bulk of little territoires, as is a lot of Eastern Europe. And Transylvania is the part, Trans and Sylvania. Trans means crossing, Sylvania means woods. It literally means crossing the Carpathian woods. And Transylvania is a little pocket of land embedded almost completely by the Carpathian Mountains, hence Transylvania. And the place where I was born is about 60 kilometers from Castle Bran, which is where Vlad Tepes, the original inspiration for Dracula, was born. And Dracula only means, well, we used to call Vlad Tepes Dracu, which means devil. And Dracula is an abbreviation from our language, devil. So, yeah, that's where it comes from.
5 points for you.
We have experts on this subject here. How cool is this? 2 experts on this subject.
And I bet
so we have another question, and this one is for Eric. Eric, when will you be playing Rod Serling in a movie?
That's actually the second time someone's asked that question during this panel. I have actually played Rod in a spoof on the Bob and Angus show, which actually was done by my company before I joined my company, Sealy Studios. For the Bob and Angus show was a 13-season, nearly 200-episode branded entertainment series for one of the largest board game companies in the world. And it was a puppet show, but they do these spoofs every once in a while, and they brought me on to play Rod in a 3-episode spoof on the Twilight Zone. And wow. I will tell you that I studied Rod's speech patterns and a lot about him. Were that offer to come my way, it would be hard for me to say no, because I mean, fascinating guy, and obviously, you know, he was quite a character. You know, whenever you saw Rod Serling, for those of you who are familiar with the original American Twilight Zones, whenever you saw Rod Serling on the screen, and then you saw an interview with him, he seemed to be bigger than life and have these very strange mannerisms on screen. And then when you saw an interview with him, there was no difference at all. He was exactly like that. So it would be really interesting to play a guy has that unusual a personality realistically. But so I've been close, and I don't know, but somebody make me an offer and we'll talk. So, let me just throw this in. We're watching Eric Schumacher. Little does he know he's entering a realm of sight, sound, and movies. Little does he know he's entering the Tales from the Set zone. So I had to do that.
Eric, you absolutely have to answer the latest question.
What's the latest question? When will Eric Schumacher be dubbing an elephant in a movie? Marco Cabriolo casts me as an elephant in an animated movie. That's when.
I know. He actually does it very well, believe me.
Yeah. I do a few things like that, yeah.
That's really great.
Okay, any additional questions?
Not a question, but just a little bit of a story.
Okay.
Linking back to family and filmmaking and how that can all work together. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually married to Eric.
Yay, me.
We've been together 20 years. And,
she still hasn't come to her senses, thank God.
But
I'm so sorry, Ginger.
Thank you, Marco.
Somebody had to take it for the team. No. But we talked about how he gets into his characters and how it's a whole process. And there have been several characters. Well, I've had to live with all of his characters. There have been a few that, you know, like living with Doc Holliday, that wasn't so bad. Southern gentleman, nice manners, as long, you know, he was easy to get along with. But there was Judas the Judas Iscariot.
Yusef Akbar Aziz al-Nasar Gamel al-Fayumi. I played an Egyptian Coptic Christian undead attorney in a 3.5-hour play called The Last Days of Judas Iscariot, and I was one of the lead characters in that. So it was a great deal of pressure to nail this character, and I was in a lot of makeup, and I really had to, yeah.
And it was a 3-hour play, and he was on stage, I'd say 90% of the time. So there was a great deal of lines that he needed to learn, and he, do the full immersion. He'd be practicing his lines. I'm helping him with his lines. He's getting the accent, and I'm living with this Aziz, right?
Yusef.
I'm living with Yusef. But this also happens during the time of one of our wedding anniversaries. So we've gone away on vacation, and I had to literally limit him. It's like 2 hours a day. I'm on our anniversary trip, and I want to be with my husband, not the undead Coptic Christian lawyer. So, these can be, there are challenges, So that was just one of the things about living with family and actors, and you learn to adapt to like when you played Jans in El Patron. Didn't really like living with Jans. He was a son of a, but you adapt.
I'd say that's the other side. I mean, some of us spoke earlier about family involved with our work and our projects. And I think, the other side of it is that even if your family isn't actually involved in the work with you, they have the blast effect. They have the area effect, right? So I mean, our families have to deal with quite a lot for we crazy artist types. Am I right?
Yeah. And it's like if you're in rehearsal, there was a T-shirt that's out for sale that says I'm in rehearsals. Got that for him, because when he was doing more play work, he was always, and just, or if we're doing a production together, we destroy our house like the 2 or 3 days beforehand, because you're laying out gear and you've got costumes going, and we have a home, we have a workspace home versus a home workspace. But these are just the fun of living of being in the creative arts. It's for us, because this is what our passions are. We don't always notice how it can look from the outside. I guess. Yeah. It's just, the fun of living with, it's like, okay, who is he going to be this month? Who's he learning? And just, it's fun. Anyway.
Okay, so this is for Ginger and Eric, or for anyone else it applies to. Marion is asking, what are your secrets to a long relationship?
That's not for me.
Sorry.
I love how she starts off with a laugh.
And
Like,
you want to go first?
Well, yeah, sure. I'll try to answer that. I mean, I think, I think it's again, because we as artists, we have this area effect about us. Our work it affects every aspect of our lives, and we're always under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. It does put an extra strain on a relationship. I think, what is very important, regardless of whether or not you're in the arts, though, is I think really, really getting to know whomever you're with, and holding nothing back. If you don't love that person and they don't love you for who you really are, warts and all, as they say, then eventually there will be bumps in your relationship that can't be overcome. So, part of my secret to wooing Ginger in the first place and then keeping her from running away was one is just make sure that I'm really loving her, make sure that I'm really, showing how much I care. But also very early, just full disclosure. I mean, okay, here's how crazy I am. And
Yeah.
basically, if you run now, I get it. You know, and if you don't, well, I told you. And I'm going to I'm not going to hide it. You know, I'm going to be who I am. And either that works or that doesn't. Too often, I think people get into a relationship and they, you know, of course, they put their best face on at first. And then over time, it gets hard to maintain that. And then you start to see who the other person really is. And, you know, over time, those things that were endearing are now really frustrating. And, you know, so, I mean, just be real and hopefully it works. And if it doesn't, oh, well, you know, that's kind of what it comes to. But really, it is very important, especially also for those of us, I think, as performers, to make sure that we are, that we really remember that we're with someone else and that we're checking in with them, because this career can be all encompassing. It can take up every second of your life, and you've got to remember that there are people in your support court, and to stop and be there with them. I think that's extremely important. At least those are my tips anyway.
Yeah.
Can I say something here? Just a second.
Absolutely.
Because I asked the same question to Eric a couple of days ago, and he told me, I was asking for an advice, and he say, yeah, I mean, just say always yes. That's it.
I did not say that. I did not say that. It's true, but I didn't say that. Also, if you're married to someone who's really smart, never say yes, dear.
All right. Sarah, do you want to answer?
I think I'm gonna go with it sounds really, really, really boring, but I'm gonna go with communication on this one.
Definitely.
Simply because even though as much as you try to be honest with your partner, and that might work really well, I think over the period of time you change. No matter how old you are, you just change. You know, your interests change, your outlook on life, for me at least, constantly changes. So to keep him in the loop so he doesn't do the wrong things and gets a bad response, I just have to keep him in the loop where my head's at. Otherwise, because he's not psychic, and I keep forgetting that he's not psychic.
Good point.
On the topic of honesty, so just saying what you really want, not just what bugs you in the moment and what he did wrong to trigger you, but actually what you really need and want. And to find that out in the first place takes a lot of work and soul searching in yourself and honesty before you communicate that in a way that another human being who doesn't live your experience understands where you're coming from.
Yeah, and generally being a male, it's like getting blood out of a stone.
You're the biggest softie.
Now I am. It took a little while to get used to that, because being an artist, and Zoe might even relate to that as well. It's not just the film and career, but for me it's a bit of both, because I have to swing between the both, or had to swing between the both to earn a living and pay for my roof and feed myself. But you have to kind of realize that you yourself are you kind of cocoon yourself in your own little world, because you have to get the job done. You have to put up with all the crap and to function. You have to keep things going. So sometimes you forget, as a guy anyway, and I think probably most guys are guilty of that. You just bulldoze on, get the job done. If you're old-fashioned like me, you're the provider. So you have to, forget all the niceties and all the other things that go. But I've learned to buy flowers.
Yes.
And remember that people have a softness about them, and they're not like me. They're not bulldoze down that road, get that job done. We have a tag. We have to raise money. We have to raise awareness. We have to do. So now I'm kind of thank Cara. She's re-educated my way of thinking, by not just by putting the foot down in her translation,
which I do a lot.
Which she does a lot. She said it. But, communication. Yeah, it's the key thing. Not just taking it for granted that someone will understand why you're being a twat, or, you know, you're being a complete arsehole. You know, if you're being an arsehole, something's triggered you, something's kicked it off, you know, it could be a text, could be something you read, all these things. We're only human at the end of the day, but, you know, if you can actually turn around and go, sorry for that, I was being an asshole because of this or because of that. You know, if you can actually connect with what it is that makes you behave good or bad, you know, what makes you feel good, as well as, because a lot of people, they concentrate on what makes them, you know, feel good, especially guys, but they don't remark on what makes them feel bad.
And why?
And why? Because we've got that whole masculinity thing to deal with. But, you know, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it's got me in a lot of trouble, and people have taken advantage of that. But, you know, when I'm with my women, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And that's my dinner. I'm gonna go. So I'll leave it.
He's
Great
baking.
advice.
That's great advice.
It's difficult to give advice because not people are the same. Not every relationship is the same. It's very difficult. But I think it comes down to the individual first before you can talk about the couple. And if there's no self-awareness and people just react, which is normal because everybody has a past and has trauma or whatever print or mark life left on them. If you're not aware on what does what with yourself, you can really not expect another person to just know. How could they, you know? So I think self-awareness and working on yourself first is the biggest one, and then trying to translate that to someone else. Yeah.
And going off of something that Kara said, transferring from any relationship, which a lot of these suggestions are good for, to a long-time relationship, is when Kara was talking about people changing. That's just really important to keep in mind, is because we as people have what's called the steady mindset, where once we have something, quote, figured out, we basically keep that image of whatever is going on until there's something that's so big that we're kind of like thrown out of that picture. And if you're in a long-term relationship, one of the things that you have to remember is that both you and your partner are going to be constantly changing. And like the communication part was there, but you have to make sure that both of you are changing, not exactly the same, but kind of in the same direction.
Yeah.
Growing.
I think there's another important aspect, which is trust, and particularly for people who have careers like entertainment industry careers or similar careers, where there's often travel. You're often away a lot. You're meeting tons of people. I mean, and let's face it, we're around performers all the time. We're around a lot of really good-looking people. And that's so I think one thing that I try I guess it's not that hard for me, because I always end up like when I work with a lot of beautiful female actors, and I always end up as big, kind of like the big brother or the I mean, they get the vibe from me right off the bat that I'm, that I'm just a pal. And but that being said, I think it's important to be very clear and very communicative with your spouse, and remind them that you are that within the confines of however your relationship is based, that you're loyal to them, that you value them, and to maintain that communication even when you're away as much as possible, and likewise make sure you're setting the right framework for your relationships with people that you're working with as well. It's there's also that degree of trust when you're working with other people as well, to just make sure that you're showing them that you're professional and that you're here to work and perhaps to be a friend as well. But make sure that you're not giving them the wrong vibes is important. But maintaining that part of that communication is also maintaining trust with your spouse, and making sure that they know where your head is and where their head is.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or just learn hypnosis.
Or just learn hypnosis. Yeah, that's also possible.
That's another
Marco, or you can learn the Italian accent.
What?
Women, Marco, we could just learn your Italian accent. Women love it.
Oh, really? Where? Tell me where.
Well, in Italy, it's a little redundant, but
Come to the,
for
come
sure,
to the
you know.
States, you'll be exotic.
Yeah.
When it's
I
safe
can-
to.
I can imagine that. No, I mean, you know that I go often there to United States, you know. It doesn't look so exotic after a while, you know.
Marco once came to Serbia, and I introduced him to my girlfriends, to my colleagues. He is Italian, famous director.
Be careful what you say.
A couple of days he ran away. He escaped to United States, and just wanted him, you know.
A couple of days.
Marco.
I was living 3 years there in Serbia.
well, they mark time differently there, I hear.
Yeah.
It's like the metric system.
Believe me, there is no problem about your relationship. If you're a Highlander, like I am, like my people, my friend from Scotland, you have no problem.
And from Sardinia too.
Highlanders, we felt in love with our mothers, so we have no problem with our relationship. You know.
Yeah, we have
Our
women
mamas take care about everything. So
are really special. Yeah, especially in Italy, you know very well. Like they prepare a lot of food, you know, they want to feed. But there is one thing about mothers here, you know, especially in Sardinia, you know, like my mom, you know, always say like, I want to go out and play with my friends. You know, Mom, I'm going to play soccer with my friends. Okay, you can go, but just don't sweat. I say, oh, is that possible? So that's something, you know. Italian.
my mama said it also when I'm with the girls, don't be sweat. Soccer, come on.
Okay, that's another, I don't know about that.
Oh. People, because we are in the silence, I want to hug you, every one of you. During this very tough period under COVID, my soul is empty and of enemies, not even of friends. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm thankful for to Eric, to Marco. They invited me, and I hope that in close future we will have some opportunity to meet in live and to drink, talk, hug each other, kiss each other, and to work together, because I think that all of you are very talented and people with a big charm, and I hope that I will have a chance to see you in real life.
Likewise.
We have TusCon in the middle of November every year. If you're ever in Arizona, come in. We'd love to have you.
But I don't want to kiss you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not going to ask then, Charlie. Damn. So
I was-
exclusive. I mean,
I was thinking the same, you know, just I say, okay.
I get it.
No kisses. Okay.
Before I don't know when
So in Serbia, do you do the double cheek kiss or not?
Triple.
3 times.
3 times.
well, where's the third one?
Because left, right, and in the middle.
And in the middle. Wow. Okay.
It's like a Russian kiss. Russian kiss.
Yeah, in Switzerland also. In Switzerland.
Like Italiano.
Who can imagine that people from Switzerland like to kiss each other, but they like. I thought that they just want to kiss dollars or euros, but no.
Of course, during COVID, if anyone tries to kiss me, it's like. You know.
I prefer Sweden, you know, because only the women can kiss. I mean, they kiss.
Marco.
Calm down. We're so
I'm,
polite.
I'm talking, you know, for myself. I mean, my opinion. That's it.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm not sexually attracted to men, but there is something about a solid beard kiss that is just a little different.
Oh, Scott, I didn't know you cared. Actually, I should shut up. Look at Charlie, for crying out loud, man. I can't do that. That is I have a beard. He has a beard.
That's beard. This beard.
Huh?
That's not a beard. That's a beard.
Hey, words of Dundee. Yeah.
Dad would be proud.
People have complimented me on my beard. Charlie comes on screen, I feel thoroughly emasculated.
Charlie is the only guy who is with a girlfriend with himself. So in Serbia, yeah, all of us were alone except Eric, who is with his father. But, okay.
And the wife.
We have like a prize, golden slipper. Golden slipper is a prize for good husband. So Charlie, you're winner. Charlie, you are golden slipper. Nice.
That's awesome. You heard it right here, folks. This is official.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
But I'm sure that all of you has like pajama pants right now, and you know, and just on top because we can see.
I have been known to do a few Zoom things like that during the lockdown, but I will assure tonight I'm actually fully dressed. So yeah, first time ever. No.
Phew.
Well, not in pajamas or tracky dacks or something like. You probably don't call them tracky dacks in the States. We call them that. Sweatpants, I think you call them actually. Yeah. So no, it's full of tie this evening.
See, I've learned the hard way to be fully dressed during Zoom calls during this because this is true, and now everyone will know this. I was like in my underwear in a call, and I'm wearing like a dress shirt up here, and I crossed my legs, and it's like, oh shit.
And that's good that you had underwear at least.
Yeah, well,
You're Sharon Stone.
I'm not a complete barbarian, Marco. Don't believe the news.
It would be like Eric Instinct,
No,
that was a deep fake, damn it.
Is that what happens when I leave the house?
I'm not talking.
Oh, coming out now.
Oh crap, my wife is on this call.
Oh man. What are all our children going to think of these kind of conversations in 10, 20 years time when the pandemic's history and they just look back at these memories and think, wow, what did they get up to?
This is why I'm going to share this other hot tip. Don't have children.
That option.
Shush. What it's going to be is like when I was growing up, the home movies were on Super 8 and Super 16, millimeter film. They're not even going to have the tech to play this. Okay.
That's true.
This is going to be the Betamax of whenever those kids are old enough.
Super 3D smell-o-vision.
And if they do, they're going to just find it's all on Zoom in our underwear, and just it's just going to go bad from there.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Email.
I think we've gotten to the loopy part of this panel. Where we all slightly lose our minds. We should have all agreed to have a drink in front of us. Oh, well, look at these guys. Look at these guys.
Go and eat something.
You think it's been tea?
Oh, and Millerad is well prepared.
Yeah, always. You are
I
welcome.
was too, but it's empty.
It's a brandy from plums. You know what means plums? Plums.
Yeah.
Paul, you're Scottish. You have a reputation to keep here. Where's your booze?
Yeah.
I'm probably the
Charlie's
only.
representing here, man. Huh?
I'm probably the only teetotal Scot in Scotland.
Oh man.
Probably.
I'm big for me and him.
No, Paul. I think Paul and I are just on water this evening. We chickened out.
So we're going to sign out now, guys. We're going to have to go.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Thank
here.
you guys. Thank you guys so much. Oh,
Thanks,
and
Francine.
one more time. Talk about your nonprofit village, and if there's a website or something people can see your donate.
Oh yeah, so you can go to www.duncaron.
That's D-U-N.
DUNCARRON. www.duncaron.com. We're also on Facebook under Duncaron Medieval Village. You can, from the website, you can spider out to our Combat International page, our Shore Patrol page. So it all stems out. Even the charity, the Clanranald Trust, all comes out of the one page. It's on the drop-down menu. You can seek out all our activities from filming, music, events, education, all the kind of things that we've been doing. You can get a little bit of the history. There's a whole plethora of stuff that you can investigate. And yeah, if you want to contact us, we're not adverse to receiving emails. You can get the email address through the website. There's a little chat forums through the
Thanks,
website.
Paul. Paul just posted that.
Paul just put it in. Yeah.
That's
This
my
looks
man.
amazing.
He's all over our stuff. It's brilliant. He's been totally grand. You'll find us on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, websites, the whole shebang. So we're around.
And if
Open
you're ever in Scotland, just drop us a message that you're over from the States or wherever you're from, and we'll make sure that you get a tour and come and see the village.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go there.
Wait.
That's
Yeah.
what
You got to
I
see the
love
photos.
it.
This place is so cool.
I love
Yeah.
Scotland.
The photographs don't do it justice. We're a pretty much one-stop shop. If you guys ever need any projects filming in Scotland, you just come over and see us. We've got costume, we've got weapons, we've got
bodies,
we've got locations, we've got everything.
Especially bodies.
And likewise, if we can come over and help you guys with anything, just give us a shout. We're
Yeah,
around.
Charlie's a big biker. He loves his bikes, and we love to come to the US. We have been the last 2 years, 18 and 19, but then obviously in 2020 it didn't work because of COVID. But if we passed through Arizona multiple times, we absolutely love the Western, the heat and all of that. We absolutely love it. So if we're over there, we'll get in touch and see what can go.
Absolutely.
Better.
Hey.
Better.
And if we can help with anything, if your Tucson becomes, I don't know how you pronounce it, TusCon.
Tucson.
Yeah.
The convention is TusCon, yeah.
Yeah, TusCon, if the convention comes back out, I'd love to discuss any participation about that in the future.
If we're over,
If we're over, if we're over by your way, we can drop in. So just keep in touch, guys. And I'd love to do this chat again after Christmas. Maybe we should have keep it live, keep in touch. Lovely to meet you all.
Absolutely.
That sounds great.
Great seeing you again, guys.
So guys, just so you know,
Lovely.
this is being recorded. It will appear on TusCon's YouTube page as well, so people can see the chat later. And everyone's bios and links are also on the TusCon website. So for anybody who's listening, if you didn't catch how to find some of our panelists, please just go to the TusCon website, and all their links are up there. And of course, the TusCon committee is great about that as well and can always help.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
I'm just writing down the Instagram just in case, because that's the only thing I use as a social.
Look us up. Yeah, look us up. We'll connect there. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take
Chatting,
care,
guys.
guys.
Arrivederci.
Bye.
Arrivederci. Bye.
Scott, should we have everybody else just say, any last anything? Or?
I think that'd be a good time to, if you if you want to say some last words, or if you have something specific you want to plug, or whatever you want to do, now would be a good time for that. Do you want to start? Let's start with Zoe.
Hi.
Oh, you raised your hand.
Yeah. I know, but I didn't know anybody else was not going to say anything. So, anybody that wants to hear some of my stuff, I'm all over Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Deezer, all the platforms that you find music, it'll be there. Just search ZOEE. And for anybody that wants to find out anything else, you can find me on socials. It's just Zoe Official, ZOEE Official. And yeah, just let's keep in touch. This has been so much fun, and I've really, really appreciated everybody wanting me to be here. And it's been a really nice community atmosphere. And I think in these times, it's nice to be able to connect with people again. And even though it's sort of, so international and so broad, it's really nice to be able to just sort of spend some time with everybody and get to know you guys a bit better. So yeah, thanks for having me.
I had a great time with you. Thank you so much for giving your time, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got to hear this girl sing too, man. She's got a voice.
I just saw your video and I love it.
Oh, thank
Paul
you.
sent it to me.
Paul is just awesome at plugging my stuff. He's just the best. And thank you too, Paul, for doing all you do. And Paul
He's
is the
like
one that
our
got me.
awesome PR dude.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always plugging us, but he's so silent. I was just talking to Paul last night, and I was like, you keep pushing everyone out there. Hey, what about you?
I agree. Actually, we need to plug Paul.
Yeah, we need to plug Paul.
Yeah.
Paul?
Oh, Paul is on Instagram, guys. He just got a new account on Instagram. Can you plug that in there, Paul? Can you just type that in there, or I'm gonna do it?
If I put my Twitter down, it links to just about everything.
What about your
my
artwork? They
Instagram,
can see more of your artwork.
IMDb. Yeah, but I've got my Instagram on my bio, Twitter bio.
Oh, okay.
And the stuff that I want to plug, I can't really talk about yet. But quite a lot of people here are involved in it. So if you keep an eye out on it, there'll hopefully be news coming about all that. Hopefully sooner rather than later. And it's got some awesome fight choreographers in it as well. Homegrown ones.
Can't imagine who that could be.
You can rest assured it's not me.
Hey, it might be a plot twist. Right?
Well, that could be cool. No, I've tried the Scottish accent. I just definitely can't get it. I've lived here for 4.5 years, and I just still can't drop the Aussie accent. It's crazy. I've tried.
I think it's awesome. We got a variety of people here, so it's just fantastic.
I gotcha. It's great.
Anybody else want to do their? Oh, got a hand raised with.
Yeah,
Sorry, Scott. I don't mean to say your thunder.
Sorry. He just does
Go
that
ahead.
so well. I was just going to say it's been a pleasure being part of such a creative colony of people, and just to plug my own stuff in this era of COVID and all the hand washing. I do make soap. So if you want to check it out, I'm on Etsy at Quest Craft Studios. I'll put it in the messaging, but I do make soap and other objects of art and critters, and that's about that. And I'll type it in, and it was fun to be part of this. So anyway,
and your spiders are really cute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was reading Stephen's bio, and apparently he is unnaturally afraid of spiders. So I didn't want to have any of my little critters where he could see them, because I didn't want to.
Carefully place it on your hat. I really like your hat, by the way. You
Little
can
hat.
carefully just place it up there.
Yes, hopefully you didn't notice, but. But
Eric, do you use your wife? Ginger's soap?
All the time. Only that, in fact. No, it's I have really my hands dry and crack really easily. And before she started getting into that business, I had like 4 or 5 different soaps in the bathroom at all times. I was testing to see if they would be any better on my skin. And once she started making it, because it's such good stuff, I just gave the rest of them up.
No, I'm asking for that, because you look 30, 32. Yeah. I mean,
that's the secret. I'm actually 453 years old, but I'm not a vampire. I faint at the sight of blood. That's the proof.
Got a story about that too.
Yeah, I got my wife on this call. That was a good idea.
You invited me.
So we're totally getting to the best now.
Well, it's a real short story.
Oh, she's going to tell us. Great.
I'm going to tell it. I'm 1,000 miles away from you right now. I can get away with anything. It's a real short story. Nothing to do with the set. He'd opened a can and cut his thumb on the can. And it was a fairly good cut. It was bleeding, but not like trauma. And gone into the, could you help me with this? So we go into the bathroom, he sits down on the toilet, he looks at his thumb, he looks at me, and in this super calm voice goes, "I'm gonna pass out now." And just right off the toilet into the tub. And I'm like, yeah. Wrapped it all up, and he came to and like, oh, you did it,
So goes any reputation I had left for being a machismo badass.
No, you admitted you had trouble with blood, especially when it's your own, so, but it was this freaky, calm voice. He just looks at it, looks at me, says, "I'm going to pass out now." Over he went. So anyway, there you go. You should have muted me when you had the chance.
You shouldn't, filming while he was saying that, especially sitting on the. Okay, let's.
The lid was down.
What do I say every time something traumatic happens to me? Somebody get a camera.
Marco, work that into a scene in your next movie.
Right.
Get this in there.
So, Gigi, just place different cameras at home, and you're fine. you got a
every
movie.
sort of falling scene, and that's going to look natural at that point, then, aren't you? Like it's gonna come off well.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Serbia, we say guests are lucky because they can leave when they want, but hosts are in problem.
True that.
Okay.
Robert De Niro say,
Milorad, do you have something that you'd like to plug or tell us about?
to tell about what?
A current project.
About my next project.
Yes.
Yeah,
the COVID project.
Yeah, I have a couple of projects with Marco Cabriolo, but it depends. He's connected with mafia from Sardinia and Calabria. But okay, I'm a member of Serbian National Theatre. It is the oldest professional national theatre in this region. So when I played with my colleagues from UK, they are mostly freelancers and they jump from project to project. And I'm full-time member of National Theatre. That means that you have at least 10, 15, 20 performances per month. And because we are a little bit relaxed, we can make some space in the schedule to shoot the movies or whatever. So I succeed right now in that. So I'm right now in 2 TV series, very serious in my country. One is about war during the battle for Kosovo before 20 years, and about mafia in football. Mafia about managers in the football. So that's it. And we stopped with Corona. We start to make Dostoevsky's play Crime and Punishment, and I don't know how to say in English, something of stories from underground, if I am right. It is so now this week I have to play 4 plays, but COVID stopped us because a couple of my colleagues are under COVID. So today I sent one casting for a Spanish TV series, and I learned some of my lines in Spanish. So you can imagine how was it, but I was very with good face and emotion in my face. So that's it. I'm waiting for. I played in theater last week. This week I'm free, and I expected. I to tomorrow I should. I have. I should shoot, but they informed me today that it is impossible because director of photography is under the COVID. So that's it. Okay, that's it. I'm full-time employer, so I have my salary every month, work or not work. So
That's
it's
good.
good to be a Serbian citizen, but but still I involved in myself, learning some skills and whatever, that's it, and preparing some projects. But it as all of my stories is very long stories. Everything here depends on politics. So I'm a leader of political non-parties movements. I'm in front of the of artists. So that means that you are not. Our government don't like those guys, and when you going to competition for the money for your projects. Okay, I have enough money of my Serbian National Theater. I have enough money of my shootings, movies, TV series here in outside of Serbia, but still I have I need to show my own word through my own theater and multimedia troupe. And if I want to go to competition for money, say competition, no money, because you say bad words about government. So that's it. But so many stories, so many things I can tell you about it. But
You don't need.
every time deserves their own people. White times deserves white men's. Gray times deserves gray guys. Black times means black in soul, not black in outside. Black on this on color of skin. That's it. You have some. Hey, Eric, how it is act with the hair? Explain to us.
What was the question?
How it's possible to act with hair?
Well, you just wear a bald wig and it works out fine.
Yeah,
It's just
Misha was born like that,
I bet you can run faster than me. There's not that wind drag.
Oh,
A wonderful bald head.
Scott, are you still alive?
Yeah, Michelle, do you want to say something about your upcoming work?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
But I'd love to stay in touch on Facebook. You can, you know what? I'll just type it here and search for me under Shell Shermaine. This should make it easier. So we can continue our awesome combos. And if anybody wants to follow me, I'm also on Instagram. I just plugged it in the chat. I don't know. That's pretty much it. I just loved listening to all your stories, and I'm just glad to be here.
I'm glad
Well, we're really happy that you were able to make it. We really are. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Scott.
And then Marco,
Yeah. Yes.
do you have anything that you'd, any projects you'd like to talk about?
Can Eric answer to that? No, I'm plenty of projects. They're all stuck for the moment. No, but an important thing that I'm working on right now, especially now in the COVID time, because this is going to last also for the next year for sure, you know, like randomly, but you know, there will be lockdowns everywhere anyway. So yeah, I'm actually planning to launch my like a kind of, how you call it, like a crowdfunding campaign for a special project. It's a special project because this is related not only about movies, but it's related to artists in general. So where artists meet business people, okay, entrepreneurs. So it's a club. It's a club, but I call it like a private club, which is nothing to do with the private club you think about, but you know, it's and it's called Elite Dreamers Society. So Elite Dreamers Society because, you know, both entrepreneurs and artists are dreamers. Otherwise, they cannot achieve their, you know, their success or to make their own project. So that's how I want to make the two meet in somehow. So I structured this and with a main headquarter in south of France. So the idea is to put together this club and launch it as soon as possible, of course, you know, publicly. And of course, we will need support and help also financially. That's why, you know, I'm working on that. It's hard, you know, but I'm sure we're gonna make it. So that's.
Is this just in Sardinia and
No. This is an absolutely international. That's why the idea is to have to take an historical, which is place venue that I already identify, let's say, as a location, and it's an historical medieval castle in France. Southwest of France. I mean, actually, I saw 3 of them, and but one in particular, I really love it because it's close to an international airport, and there are so many different, how can I say, like benefits and perks also to all the people who will become members, or they will just support us. So that's. So we're still working on me and, you know, a few of my associates to put together the structure, everything, and hopefully soon will be made public, you know. So and any help also, you know, to spread the word will be.
When you have something ready to spread out, send it to Eric, send it to me, and we'll put the word out.
I will.
What kind of artists are you looking for? What kind of arts?
Any kind, you know, could be musician, can be, it's like, you know, it's gonna become like sort of, let's say.
So is it just performing arts, or is it fine arts as well?
No, also fine art. Any kind of art.
Okay.
That's why I said also entrepreneurs will join, because entrepreneurs, you know, financially they can, of course, support artists, but at the same time, it's important because any entrepreneur, okay, is actually a dreamer, is an artist as well, you know, in another way, but is an artist. So that's let's call the philosophy of the project. And I think it's also, you know, this idea came to my mind because I love the Belle Epoque period, especially, you know, medieval period, Belle Epoque period. But the Belle Epoque period had something special, you know, that they were the cafe in Paris, for example, you know, where artists from different art, they were gathering together, you know, like Salvador Dali, and you had, I don't know, like Scott Fitzgerald, you had, so they were all, you know, Hemingway. You know, they were all meeting in a cafe and sharing ideas and creating. You know, each of them in his own art. You know, so they were doing this. So this is something that it's you know, with the final how you say scope, the final aim to be to support artists in general. Of course, we will have even events, you know, big events as well, and everything must be done there. But at the same time, you know, we want to make and support also other projects from all the artists involved. You know, painting, you know, painters and musicians. So I think that's what is needed, and of course, selecting also the talents, because not everybody, you know, we can see I think today, so let me pass this word, but so much crap online that goes from, you know, on YouTube or Instagram. Everybody's an artist, a photographer, but then you know, unfortunately, who has the real talent sometimes cannot express himself because he needs more support, he needs more money, he needs the right people, you know, to be surrounded by the right people. So that's what we want to do, you know, bring quality in art and support it. So
Love that.
That's brilliant.
Wonderful.
Definitely keep us in touch and let us know how things develop.
Sure. Thank you. I will. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And maybe we can do an interview at some point.
Oh, okay. I'm not good at that, but yeah. Okay. I will.
Shut up, Marco. You're fine at it.
Great. Come on.
No. Yeah, because Eric, every time, you know, I mean, Eric knows about this project, of course, because, you know, my mind is always doing something, you know, while I'm doing something else, my mind is going on his way. And Eric always know, you know, is one of the first, or probably the first person after my, because Eric is the American me. So that's
Marco has come to the U.S. to visit a few times, and among some of my film colleagues here, they started calling Marco the Italian me, and so yeah, there's mind melds going on.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, I think that's actually a wonderful place to stop, unless somebody has some more things they'd like.
I do want to say one thing, if I may. So you might have noticed my incredibly subtle branding.
I definitely did.
You know,
No reasons why.
So Revenge of Zoe, a movie that premiered at TusCon about 2 years ago to a crowd that was so packed that we had to do a second screening, and it was very well received.
And you filmed some last year there.
And last year, for the next movie in the Revenge of Zoe series, we actually filmed scenes at TusCon that took place at a fan convention, and about 200 fans decided to sign up as extras, as well as some of the celebrity guests and other folks we brought in. So we're very deeply tied with TusCon, who's been incredibly supportive to us. And so, you know, just incredibly grateful to the convention for all of its support. Revenge of Zoe is going to go into distribution soon. We have a distribution deal with Brink Media, and we don't have an announced date yet, but that will be released very soon everywhere online. And I'm excited about that. Also, Tombstone Rashomon has released now streaming. That was the movie I played Doc Holliday in, directed by the amazing Alex Cox, who did Repo Man and Sid and Nancy and a bunch of cult classic films. So that can be found on Amazon streaming and a bunch of other places. Also, the short film Bequest, which was by Rick Mel Productions, Rick Pines and Imelda Paclabar created and starred in that. And my company consulted on that, and I also played in it and won an insane 18 festival awards for that film.
Wow!
Is now available. Thank you. Is now available on online streaming on Amazon Prime, and we have a bunch of other releases coming, most of which are very, very geeky. SealyStudios.com is probably the best place to go, and of course all of our social media. And strangely enough, many of the projects that are upcoming have something to do with many of the people here.
Zoe, I'm sorry. I thought he already asked you what your projects were. Did I miss that? Or I mean, please talk about your projects.
So me, I didn't quite catch. So what was in lockdown? I've been working on tons of things, new music, been releasing new music every month, pretty much on the month, despite the beginning of COVID and everything going on. I mean, the band and I, we had a full tour planned. It was coming to the States and Canada and full UK things, Sweden, and then actually down through France and Germany and a whole bunch of places. So obviously all that got brought to its knees pretty quickly when COVID was announced. So since that, we've been kind of focusing on recording and releasing, and just there in September, we went out and we shot these videos, and it was such a ridiculous. We had just like 2 weeks of pure rain here in Scotland on the week we was shooting, and we had 4 videos that I wanted to shoot. We had 2 days because our camera guy, he had projects in Ibiza and a whole bunch of other things, and he wasn't available to do anything. So long story short, the videos involved like tractors and cars and push bikes and airplanes, and it was ridiculous the amount of stuff and organization to make these videos work. And we managed to pull it off in 2 days. I was really impressed. And we managed to get 3 photo shoots done as well in that time. Nobody slept. Everybody hated me because I was just driving everybody like crazy. I'm like, we got to get up, 4 o'clock, we got to go, and it's raining and it's awful. And, but we managed to get it done. So yeah, long story short, it was a lot of fun. It was, I directed them, and it was really, I put myself through some gruesome things, but I think all in all, it turned out pretty good. So there's new music videos on the front very shortly, working on some things for Christmas, and then hopefully COVID permitting, getting back out on the road, picking up the tour, and also working on some other projects, which I can't mention just yet. But yeah.
It's going around a lot here. It's going around a lot here.
I know. So yeah, that's kind of the wrap up of this year, and hopefully the beginning of next year, which will be unforeseen for a little while longer until we can work out what's going to go on with this COVID, I guess. But
right.
That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, I want to thank everybody here. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know for some of you, it's the middle of the night. For some of you, it's early in the morning. We really appreciate you spending the time and telling us your stories about, the set and life as a performer. I really, really appreciate it a lot, and just thank you so much. If any of you are in Tucson, Southern Arizona in the middle of November, tell us. We're more than happy to hopefully have you live. And everybody who's listening, again, we have a YouTube channel where previously recorded things will be taping. And we really appreciate being able to do this, and then hopefully see you next year as well.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. You're all wonderful, my dear friends.
Bye.
Great to see you.
Keep in touch.
Yeah. Stay in touch.
Bye, Margot.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.